going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion, MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast poor, you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa, and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Finally, the feeling has been restored. Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our AEW Double or Nothing 2025 review, discussing last night's show from Glendale, Arizona, where AEW gave us one of the best pay-per-views in company history and one of, if not the best pay-per-view of 2025. So we're here to discuss it all with you. We appreciate y'all if you're joining us live, appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand, but of course we are with an esteemed panel to talk about last night's show. First up, we got a face that you know here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel as the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on THH. But of course, he dabbles in the world of All Elite. He joined us for the Double or Nothing preview, and now he is here for the review. It is your boy, J News. How are you feeling?
Brother, last night was a long night, but it was a good night, to say the least. So I'm ready to chat it up and break it all down as to what occurred yesterday. What up to everybody in the chat? We've already got some of them things coming in, so you know it works to our advantage there. So peace to everybody. But yeah, man, definitely a new and good day in the world of professional wrestling. That's all I gotta say about that.
Indeed, for sure. And we are also joined by someone who's becoming a little bit of a regular for AEW pay-per-view reviews here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. You can see and hear his work over at Post Wrestling. You can hear him on several different podcasts over there and across the wrestling verse, NWA podcast and everything. He does written work for WrestleNomics as well. He is the professor, Kris. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm good, chilling. That was a awesome pay-per-view. Only issue I had was I really because of the people I was watching with. Once our Anarchy in the arena match happened, they didn't watch the rest of it, but they're casual wrestling fans, so I get it. But you know, that's not a big complaint. It was a huge, awesome show.
Yeah, some people, I know some people that just said watch Anarchy in the arena, and it was like I'll watch the rest in the morning. So I definitely understand that AEW pay-per-views are always going to be pretty long. But I'll tell you, as someone who was in the UK watching it live, it was at 5 a.m. and the sun was rising, and I did not feel tired. I felt very much tired at around 2:50 a.m. the night prior watching Saturday Night's Main Event live.
Oh, yeah,
but definitely. I did not feel tired at all 3 hours later on Sunday night because this show gave me that life. But we're here to discuss it all with you. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Either way, show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That helps us out so much. Hit the bell to stay notified because we're pretty much live here every single day, and we have been for this week. So appreciate all the support on all of our previous streams. And of course, if you're with us live, you could sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on last night's AEW Double or Nothing. Like what you like, but don't be a dick. That's all we ask. And of course, keep the chat pleasant for everyone. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here. You want to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen and we hear your thoughts on last night's AEW Double or Nothing and show your support to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. You could do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate the support. It goes a long way to help the channel grow and move forward. So always appreciate that. We got one of our members of the channels and moderators as well. Volub's in the chat. He says, I've never loved pro wrestling more than I do now. This is exactly why I can never walk away from this sport. I love seeing shows make people feel like that. Like when you can feel overwhelming joy about wrestling overall, that's beautiful.
Yeah, really. Because I really just after the last show I reviewed with y'all, I just was checked out of AEW. But the shows lately have been good, and you know, it was a good show. You know, they brought you back, and you know, a lot of stuff that I expected, a lot of stuff I didn't expect, and all of it was good.
Absolutely agreed there. We got Safet who says, what a Double or Nothing pay-per-view last night. We also got a super chat donation from J News's boy. Genesis J is joining us. I'm not used to seeing Genesis J unless it's a New Japan coverage, but he knew J News was going to be here, so he had to show us some love. Appreciate the super chat donation, good sir. He says, phenomenal pay-per-view, top to bottom. A round of applause emoji. I mean, I can't say it any better than that. Like this is I at least I would say since like AEW All in London, this is the best pay-per-view that they've had in like almost a year.
I agree. Yeah, I think that was the last show that we all like gave No. It was
All Out was great. I thought Wrestle Dream was really good as well. But the feeling of like overjoyed with AEW, I think that the last time was All In.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like AEW is. I think last night's show proved they were here to stay. They have their top tier established superstars. You know, you saw that with Swerve and Ospreay and the Hangman. You know, even Omega. I mean, they're on the precipice. I believe. I really do believe that. And I haven't felt that for them in a while.
We are also joined by my co-host over on the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. You know him as the True Draw. Josh, how are you feeling?
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Feeling good. I just look forward to talking all the positive compared to yesterday and in our review yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like the juxtaposition to how we felt about WWE coming out of Saturday Night's main event to how we feel about this show.
The what got me on Saturday night's main events was just the weird like commercial cuts. They were on network TV, so I get it, but man, that was a hard show to watch.
Yeah,
man,
one of my worst viewing experiences.
We even had somebody say, "Hey, I thought Saturday night main event was gonna be better because of the card." Boy, what they wrong.
Yeah, I didn't think that at all, but you know, hey.
I remember.
See, you always do, sir.
This is why I tell people to be selective about the professional wrestling that they watch. You don't have to watch everything. You watch what's good to you at the end of the day. So,
and WWE's already told you a few Saturday night's main events ago. Saturday night's main event is just a commercial for their USA and Netflix. That's all it is. It's not anything special ever going to happen on that show.
Yeah, and it's not TK finally learned, Vala. He finally remembered how to send the fans home happy again, because he's done that many times. It just seemed like he forgot in 2025, but he remembered last night. We got Annika wishing us a happy Memorial Day, homies. Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Good to see you in the chat, Annika. We got Robert Brown who says happy Memorial Day as well, and that he was glad Hangman won last night. This was not my prediction. I predicted Ospreay to win, but I don't think I've ever been that happy that I was wrong on a main event prediction, because I was like, yeah, this makes more sense for what the goal is to rescue AEW. It makes more sense for the guy, the original homegrown star, to do it.
Yeah. I think if it had to be, for me, it had to be Swerve or Hangman. Ospreay was cool too. I picked Ospreay also on our prediction show. But yeah, I was totally fine with Hangman winning. I believe when he's around contract time, people are gonna be sniffing him, man. He showed his ass last night.
Yeah, I think he signed like either 3 or 5 year deal. So his contract would probably be up next year or in 2028. So I think he's staying though. He seems like
I think he's staying too.
AEW.
I think he's staying too. I think people are gonna come at him. I do believe that.
They have in 2018. They did in 2023, and they'll do it again. Chuck Berries is in the chat joining us today. Good to see you, Chuck Berries. He says, "What's good, THH fam? Great show, great pay-per-view for AEW as usual. The affectionately known Chicken Man worked a bit of overtime and came through for the babies in Anarchy, and that was cool to me." Brock Briscoe, man, I don't think there's anyone who shows the fuck out in these pay-per-view matches. And we said this on the preview, J News. We was like, Mark Briscoe just known for these matches that they just throw on the pay-per-view, doesn't have that much build, but he always over-delivers. And I think this was one of his better over-deliveries last night.
Yeah, man. Chicken's the man, dog, at the end of the day. And mind you, I'm going to toot my own horn. I called him in the Anarchy in the Arena match. So nah, man, he's amazing, man. He's terrific. And at the end of the day, what he was able to do for a match that didn't have much build in the immediacy around Double or Nothing was terrific, man. And shouts to Ricochet for doing what he does, man.
Oh yeah, I get what you talk about that, yeah.
We also got a super chat donation from Chilling with Chase. Thank you so much, Chase, for the support. He says, shout out to Bet Online, cashed big on my Hangman underdog pick. Love that result. Oh man, That was the underdog pick. That's awesome. That was. I mean, it was in Anarchy. It was the underdog pick because Ospreay seemed like the foregone conclusion. It feel like they were pointing in that direction, and this is what we've been asking for, Josh, on the flagship for months. This John Alba of the Takedown on SI. Check out si.com. John Alba doing great work over there, and someone else you might know. But he put up on Twitter that this was a pivot. The plan for months has been Hangman and Swerve versus the Young Bucks at All In. So this is a pivot that they made last night. So yeah, it's definitely Hangman was the underdog pick, but I give Tony Khan credit for going with the pivot for once. What we've been asking for months from him.
Yeah, and I think Hangman, there's a lot more built-in feuds that are easily digestible. Not saying Ospreay doesn't have it. I think just Hangman, it's a more natural thing for him to be the guy. Hopefully, I'm still not ready to say TK is gonna have him win, but hopefully he's the guy that beats Mox and we get that fucking nightmare over. And
I'm hoping like you will alienate a large portion of your fans if Hangman loses at All In. That's just Vince McMahon levels of trolling your audience.
Yeah, it really is, man. Yeah. If Hangman doesn't win, I don't know what the fuck TK is. You know, maybe Ariel Helwani and all those guys are right, but you know.
Maybe if he does that shit. Nutty saying there will be no bulldog choke in Texas. Speaking it into existence. We need to all speak it into existence. We need to think positive thoughts. Anarchy says the mistakes AEW make on pay-per-views are so annoying because they're literally minor missteps. I'm able, like when you have shows like last night, any like nitpicks that I might have throughout the show are not that big of a deal to me. I don't think they qualify as mistakes. It's just a little bit of adjustments to make it like an even more like a better show. And like I said, we're always gonna have a difference of opinion in the chat. We got 2FK who says wrong winner. TK chickened out of elevating a new top babyface and has put Ospreay into filler for the next 9 months if the plan is Wembley 2026. Not to mention he's directionless for All In. I don't think he's directionless. You just have to find something new for him. I think we're gonna all be satisfied because it's Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay never is directionless.
Yeah, now Ospreay is gonna be the company guy for probably the next decade, man. There's no rush. I don't think there is. I think would have been nice if he won, yeah, but it's not like the sky's falling that he didn't win. I mean, I said it yesterday. I mean, on the other day when I was just like, what made this fun and what made this interesting was that either guy you go with wasn't a wrong choice. To be honest with you, in my opinion, it wasn't a wrong choice. Both situations make sense. You have Ospreay win. That's them putting the company on his back, right? And that's what people kind of been wanting for a while. With Hangman, he's been in this arc of redemption, of turning back babyface. So I think in a situation where if he would have lost again, then it gets to a point, it's just like, oh my God, how many times he's going to keep losing or he's not going to get that big moment again. So I think it's the right moment for him to win because I chose Ospreay. I chose Ospreay for the reasons that I said, but I also said I was just like, I'll be fine with either one winning. Either one winning makes sense for different reasons. And I think yesterday, you see the reaction to it. People were happy. People were excited. People are legit excited. So obviously that was, I want to say the correct move, but it was a move that was like, all right, we feel comfortable going forward with what we're doing. Now all they got to do is stick the landing and All In. Yeah, that's all they got to do. Yeah.
That's the only thing they must do. And like Dion said, it would be a massive fumble if they go with Moxley winning at All In. You're literally sabotaging yourself at that point. Just to highlight his comment one more time here to FK, who says he's run through all the top heels aside from Moxley. Running it back with MJF or Callis family feels like a massive backward step, and fan empathy is going to be an issue. I don't think so. I think what everybody else is saying in the chat, that Ospreay at this point is bulletproof, and now he has to learn how to rebound from this loss. His only two big losses in AEW on pay-per-view have been Swerve and Hangman, and now he has to regroup. And you tell the story how he rebuilds himself to get back to that spot and to tell that story. And his moment is not going to happen in Texas. It's obviously going to happen in Wembley Stadium, and now it's all what he's going to do between now and the next Owen, so he's the one that wins the Owen Cup next year.
Right. I look at Ospreay like the Chicago Bulls before Jordan became Jordan. He lost to the Celtics, the Pistons, veteran teams that the Bulls probably should have lost to, and Ospreay lost to, or is losing to guys in, like, if you're looking at this from a sports perspective, he should be losing to Swerve, and he should be losing to Hangman, and he's gonna learn, like Sid just said, he's gonna learn how to win the big ones, and he's gonna eventually do it. So it's not, I don't know, I don't see it the way a lot of you guys see it. Sorry about that.
Not a lot of them. It's really just a couple of people who feel like that in the chat right now. But like I said, everyone's entitled to their to their opinion and how they're feeling. I just think that Will's going to be all right. I think that it's not going to lead to fan empathy. The way you lead to fan empathy is by freaking having Moxley retain the title. That's how, regardless of who wins.
Yeah, but to finish off with that, or whatever the case is. The whole fan apathy part of it, it's like, and this is no shade on 2FK, to be quite honest. It's like, are we watching the same product? Fan apathy towards Will Ospreay? You can't be serious about that particular part of the comment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make much sense to me. I understand being a fan of a wrestler and all that jazz and wanting them to win. Cool. All day long, brother. I'm with you. I'm a fan as well. But like that just, to me, it's we can agree to disagree, but there's just some things that are not factually true.
Right.
So that's not gonna rock.
That's my thing too, Jay. It's like, you gotta keep your opinion based in the actual facts. Don't make up shit to like spin your narrative. Use the facts to tell your opinion.
Yeah. And I definitely, understand. I think he's saying in the chat that he's from the UK. He had a ticket to Forbidden Door, and
nice.
now he doesn't want to go. Will's your guy. I understand that. I definitely understand. Yeah, and I think that Forbidden Door is going to be awesome, and I plan on going myself. So I agree. I agree with what everybody's saying. Everybody's got their own opinion, and you can feel how you want to feel. Genesis J says, always the biggest J News supporter. Says, when J News preach, we listen. There we go.
Right.
But let's get into the review here of last night's show. You can keep on commenting in the live chat. We love the chatter already. And of course, if you're feeling generous, send a super chat donation. But as we always do with our pay-per-view reviews, we'll start with Professor Kris. Give me one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on last night's show.
It was long, but I was happy.
J News?
I've got one word. It's the E in AEW. It's elite. It was an elite show. Because goddamn, everyone over-delivered, and I was happy for it. Even the matches that I was not interested in and or invested in, should I say, from a storyline perspective, they all delivered at the end of the day. So it was an elite show.
Josh?
I go with phenomenal. I enjoyed the entire show. It also felt good to have a main event finish on a high note, because we Haven't had that this year for AEW, so that felt good at least too.
Felt like forever. I will say show of the year.
Cool.
Benchmark. Show of the year benchmark. Because there could be something that outdoes this, but now there's been the bar has been risen for show of the year after last night. We'll go very quickly through the buy-in as we had 2 pre-show matches. I also will say that that's a nice improvement. I think I noticed that on the last show for Dynasty, they're doing 2 matches on the pre-shows, which it just flows better than having 4 matches. 4 matches always felt like too much. 2 matches, you get the crowd, into the action and then get to the main stuff on the main card. So I like that they've kind of adjusted things to 2 matches on the pre-show. But the first pre-show matchup was tag team action as Harley Cameron and Anna Jay teamed up to face Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. I have in my notes here, big plus to both teams wearing matching attire. It just helps, and I know that's going to only lead to more fans wanting AEW Women's Tag Team Championships. I think that's going a little too far. Let them build up a division a little bit more and sign more ladies if they want to go in that direction. But I did like that both of these teams had matching attire on, and of course Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Thumbs up for that. They were doing a lot of double team moves in this matchup, like when Harley Cameron stuffed Penelope Ford's face into Anna Jay's ass and said bow down in front of Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne was an absolute monster in this match, just dominating power bombs, tossing Penelope Ford onto a pile of the baby faces on the outside. In the end, though, she was mowing down Anna Jay outside the ring, and that left Penelope Ford in the ring with Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron rolled through on a Doomsday Device attempt, got a near fall there. Bayne was low bridged by Anna Jay as Cameron hits her finishing move. Yes, that is the name of it, even though the cameraman completely missed that. You're going to have some production botches always with AEW, but that was a big one. She hits her finishing move for the 1-2-3 for a surprise upset here. I thought this was obvious that Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford was going to pick up the victory, but I was pleasantly surprised to see Harley and Anna get the win. And this was actually a match that I thought exceeded my expectations. I thought this was pretty good. I gave it 3 stars. J News, any thoughts, or did you watch the pre-show? We always got to ask that sometimes.
I watched the pre-show. I was definitely taken aback by the result of the match. But it worked within what they were doing. All the ladies showed out. I was definitely in a better headspace and more impressed with Anna Jay in this match than I was last time they were in a tag match. So props to Anna Jay here. Harley Cameron doing her damn thing. The Megasis still being the Megasis, which is all you can ask for. They're just. I feel like they're just waiting to pull the pin on Megan Bayne at the end of the day. And Penelope Ford, man, there's some matches where she's on, and there's some matches where she's off. She was a little off here, from within bits and pieces and stuff like that. But she's just she's learning as she goes along and things of that nature. So I just hope that she puts it all together sooner rather than later. But it was still an entertaining match nonetheless. So shouts to the ladies for doing their thing, and hopefully the women's tag team thing becomes a reality for AEW. So yeah.
I think they got to fill out the ladies roster a little bit more if they want to go in that direction to basically make it a thing to have 3 women's championships. Because that's my issue with Ring of Honor right now, that Ring of Honor has 3 women's titles and it doesn't need it because they don't really have a Ring of Honor women's roster. So AEW, they're doing good with the women's championship and the TBS championship. I think they need a little bit more women if they're going to go in the tag team direction as well.
Yeah, they gotta get their foreign ladies, their foreign wrestlers, period, clear on their visas, and hopefully that'll help steer the ship in the right direction.
All right.
Kris, what did you think about this opening to the buy-in?
Yeah, I did kind of pay attention to this because I was grading papers at the end of the semester, so I was like doing both. But I did like the match. Anna Jay is markedly better. And like you said about the matching tag team attire, that's always been a problem with me and WWE's women's tag team division. It's always like a bunch of makeshift tag teams, like instead of like tag teams. So I'm hoping that when AEW gets around to women's tag team championships, that it's like real teams and not just teams thrown together. So let's wait and see. Don't wait and see is all I gotta say.
Josh,
matchup was fine. I was surprised with the winners because I had the other group winning, but that was about it. It's a fun, it was a fine matchup.
And then the last pre-show matchup was RPG Vice, Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero teaming up with Crew, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush to versus Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito, AR Fox, and Los Titans del Air, Commander and Hologram with Alex Abrahantes in their corner. The crew wore their jackets that looked like COVID, as Josh would say, and this was a lot of fun. This was just high flying, a spectacle. I think that the peak of the matchup is when the baby faces did a 4-way kind of shooting star press, 450 splashes from each corner. I thought that should have been the finish right then and there, because at that point Action Andretti was pretty much out of it. He had a busted nose on an awkward pin attempt, and he just seemed like he was a little bit loopy after that. But they finished things off pinning Andretti with the 21-plex, an assisted 21-plex by Bandito to pick up the victory here. A lot of fun this one was, so I gave it 3.25 stars. Josh, what did you think about the second matchup on the buy-in?
Same thing. I thought it was a fun matchup. It was nice seeing all those guys, mix it up. As far as my COVID comment, it just came randomly when I saw them walking down the ramp, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why did I like COVID-19? And even Wendy started laughing. She was like, oh my God, they do. It was bad funny. So that's why I said it. But no, I mean, it was a fun matchup. Everybody, they did, they did what they do. So it was fine.
What about you, Kris?
Yeah, I thought it was a fine match. I thought I liked the arena looked good during that match. I've been to plenty of AEW shows and got there for the pre-match, and it's completely empty. Like no one is there yet. So it from an aesthetic point perspective, it looked good. It sounded loud. I'm a fan of Roppongi Vice or RPG Vice or whatever. So
RPG Vice. They're doing the acronym for Roppongi. They're like, we don't want to spend all that money on all these other extra syllables. I don't know who it is, but I hear some like shuffling with the mic. I don't know who it is, but I hear
probably me. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I heard that. But J News, what did you think about this second match here?
No, man, I always look forward to any match that has incredible lucha graps in it, and they did that with Hologram and Commander. And man, can I just say that AR Fox has been wrestling for like about 20 years, and this is the hottest he's ever been. And he keeps losing matches, man. Shouts to AR Fox, man. He's definitely becoming a fan favorite on AEW TV. So hopefully they keep him on TV. And he continues to just show off and stuff like that. And then, seeing the reunion of Roppongi Vice on the other side, and it seems like Crew is still trying to find their footing in the tag team division. So it's always interesting to see how they pair up with the other tag teams on AEW. But this was a fun match, crazy ass 8-man tag and all that jazz. So it did what it was supposed to do, like Josh said. And fun match, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But we had to get into the main card, and the main card started off big time. They announced it on the buy-in that the opener would be the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Final between Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter. This was the first time in the 6-year history of All Elite Wrestling that the women were in the pay-per-view opener. So a big step for the women's division, and of course, one of the biggest stars in women's wrestling, Mercedes Moné, the Beyonce of women's wrestling, as she calls herself, opened things up with the first entrance of the night. She's going one-on-one with the former AEW Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter. You had dueling chants. The crowd was really into this right from the beginning during the filling out process. Moné used her speed while Hayter showed off her power game early on. Moné zoned in, though, early on the injured back of Jamie Hayter, the reason why she was out for over a year. We're told by commentary she had a 15-month layoff due to the back issues. We get some short lariats and pump kicks, launched Moné across the ring as both women were trading reversals until Moné got a pawn hold for a 2 count. Both exchanged leg submissions with half crabs and knee bars, but Moné rolled Hayter into the ropes and she hit her charging knees, and then that hung up Jamie in the bottom rope. And she followed up with a hard-looking Meteora with Jamie hitting the back of her head hard onto the floor. Back in the ring, Moné locked in a surfboard stretch, started working out the back, and that really added to kind of the story of the matchup. There was 2 main stories of this matchup. It was Mercedes working over the back of Jamie Hayter and also scouting Jamie Hayter very well and avoiding every single attempt of the Haterade. She just would not, she was Hateratable in this matchup. We get a backstabber into a straitjacket camel clutch, which Taz said is damn near impossible to get out of. Hayter escaped in about 10 seconds, though, backing Moné to the corner with forearms, but Moné violently slammed her down by the hair and hit another Meteora out of the corner for a 2. Hayter exploded up with a shotgun dropkick, went to the corner, but had her leg swept out and her back hit hard against the turnbuckle, and her head also whiplash. Moné took time to do her dance, ultimately missing the corner knees, and then Hayter followed up with a back suplex and then a picture-perfect missile dropkick, followed by a John Woo dropkick, launching Mercedes into the corner. Meteora of Hayter's own, but Moné escaped a fireman's carry into the 3 amigos. Moné took way too long to follow up, so Hayter cut her off with the superplex and held on into another move, but Moné was able to float over into a backstabber. Hayter avoided the moneymaker and hit a brutal looking thrust kick, catching Mercedes right in the jaw. Mercedes followed up with a knee lift flush, and then only for Hayter to fire off a huge lariat for a double down as the crowd really got into things from there. And they were really rallying behind Jamie Hayter throughout this matchup. Moné floated over into 3 backstabbers and then locked on the statement maker, but Hayter was able to power out. We get a moneymaker attempt, but Hayter was able to avoid that. She really scouted the moneymaker throughout this matchup as well. Moné wanted an avalanche moneymaker at one point, but Hayter slipped out, and then Mercedes held on and hit a sit-out slam for a 2. Both ladies missed their finisher attempts. Moné tried for an O'Connor roll, but Hayter was able to counter it into the Samoa Joe counter into the rear naked choke. Moné rolled through for a 2 count, and then Hayter tried a springboard lariat, but Moné was able to dodge that into another statement maker. Hayter escaped that, powered up. Moné tried a crucifix, but Hayter hit a hate breaker and then a sliding lariat for the closest 2 of the entire matchup that had the crowd on their feet at this point. Moné dodged Haterade 3 times, wanted a tombstone, but Hayter was able to float over. She hits a tombstone of her own, and Moné's able to kick out at like 2.99. Hayter wound up for a home run Haterade, but Moné was able to spin out. She spikes her with like this DDT into a cradle. 1, 2, 3. Mercedes Moné wins the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament in an absolute splendid opener. This crowd was on fire. They had like one slip up when Hayter went for a clothesline off the steel steps, and she slipped off the steel steps, but the commentary kind of covered that up very well. Moné immediately sprinted up the ramp. She went by the trophy. She retrieved the Owen Hart title, and Hayter was left in the ring feeling very dejected as Mercedes now moves on. She advances to face the AEW Women's World Champion coming up at AEW All in Texas on July 12th. Absolutely fantastic matchup. I thought these two ladies really tore it up in their first time ever meeting. I gave this matchup 4.5 stars. A great way to open the show. One of the best pay-per-view openers in a while for AEW. Right up there with the MJF and Hangman from Revolution for me. Professor Kris, what did you think about this one?
Oh yeah, I love this match, man. I think this time last year, people were like talking a lot of shit about Mercedes and AEW. You know, sycophants, WWE sycophants like Kevin Nash and stuff were, you know, just not making any sense in my opinion. She's found her lane and her voice in AEW. Hayter was fantastic. I love the hope spots in this match. There was some weird, awkward commentary by when Tony Schiavone was trying to shout out JR, and then you know, he what's his name, Excalibur kind of shut him. So I don't know what was going on with that, but the match itself was, man, this was a great match. This was like a perfect opening match. It set the bar for the whole night. It was a match that pulled you into the pay-per-view because I was watching the pay-per-view, and my wife was watching it with me. She's not a big wrestling fan, and her friend and her friend's husband, then, you know, they don't care about wrestling, but they were into this match. So I always like to judge things by the way casual people look at this stuff, and they were into it. So I really do think Mercedes is and I think people like, because I did see a lot of online backlash at her winning. You have to understand that right now she is their Roman Reigns. It just is what it is in that company. They are protecting her, and she's not gonna just be, when she loses, it's gonna be to somebody that is gonna benefit huge off of it, you know. So just, I mean, don't get too worked up at that. If I wouldn't if I were you. So awesome match, yeah, like 4 3/4 stars, something like that.
I'm gonna mute your mic because there's a lot of rolling.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was gonna mute it while I go to J News.
Yeah.
J News, what did you think about Hayter and Mercedes?
I thought that you know, it was interesting to see the ladies in the first match. I understand TK as in Tony Khan. I understand the thought concept here. Let me bookend the show with the Owen Hart final matches, ladies and men's. This is probably the nitpick I had for the show. I don't feel like the ladies should have gone first. I feel like they should. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. I don't think they should have gone first because at the end of the day, the spot that 6-man match was in was not a good spot. So I would have traded.
Oh no, it wasn't. But I felt like this show was greatly paced, and I think it needed to be bookend because this is our first time ever for the women. The women opened the show. Like, I thought that was the perfect spot for them.
The pacing was great. I'm just talking about like the sequence of the matches. I think the ladies probably like the way it was. I wouldn't have the ladies start out. I don't know why I thought that. I just felt that way. I felt like they could have gone somewhere else on the card. Because following,
I think this is the best spot for them to have the match that they had. I think if you put them anywhere else, you're probably gonna hurt the match. I think this was the best match, the best place for them.
Hey man, we'll disagree there. But at the end of the day, I feel like it doesn't matter for me to win anything with that end. But I thought the match was terrific. I thought that the ladies did what I knew that they can. And at the end of the day, this match still left Jamie Hayter looking strong, which was important to me in all of this. So shouts to Mercedes for that and doing the quick roll up there. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much my take there. And hopefully we get a great match between Tony and Mercedes at All In. And we'll see as to what Jamie Hayter has next to do within the women's division. Maybe we can see a match between her and Megan Bayne. I don't know, some good. Get me something physical between the ladies, because at the end of the day, they've got the talent with all that. So,
Josh, what did you think?
It was a great opener. I like the fact that when it was announced when it was announced. I didn't mind it, because I think sometimes when you put too much focus on it, like, hey, this is going to be the opening match, and you promote it for like a week, kind of feels forced. So I like the fact that they waited until the pre-show to like announce that. I thought that was it felt natural. They didn't feel forced. And then also both ladies killed it. It was a fun opener. Mercedes is proving a lot of people wrong. And I think that she's in a situation where no matter what she does, people are gonna dislike her for their own weird reasons. I don't think, in my opinion, a lot of the reasons are like I think they're pretty stupid. But that's just that's just me. But she keeps proving herself, and I think that she's in a good spot when it comes to AEW. Like, people want her to go back to the other company. I don't think that would be a good move for her, because I think she's being treated well, but this is kind of what she wanted. She wanted to feel important, and this is the most important she's probably ever felt. And I think you see that with her attitude too. When was the last time you heard anything like, she has backstage problems with Mercedes? You haven't heard that. So
yeah.
But overall, I thought the match was great, and I was surprised with the winner. I did have Jamie Hayter win, even though I was like, I think they're gonna go with Mercedes, in that aspect. But it's gonna be interesting to see where they go from here, because it's kind of like both of those titles are in the same match. So I was like, that's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, that was like, when I did the predictions with Jay News, and I did the True Heel Heat flagship podcast with Josh, I was like, my heart wants Jamie to win. Only because my heart's saying that because I'm a huge Jamie Hayter fan, and I thought that it was better for the All-In card to have two big women's title matches on there, where I'm also a huge Athena fan, and I thought they could have done Athena versus Mercedes 2 at All-In for the TBS Championship and Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. But All In right now, it's about selling tickets, and you got to deliver the biggest matches possible, and there's no other bigger women's matchup than Mercedes Moné versus Timeless Toni Storm. I actually asked that to Ibu of Wrestle Purist. He did a Spaces yesterday, and I jumped on there, and I asked him, can this division handle putting the two top champions, the two top stars in the company for the women's division in one match at All In? And he told me that he's been told that there is going to be a second women's matchup that's non-title. So I'm hopeful for that. If it's probably maybe like a casino gauntlet, I think that's a good way to get all your talent out there to feature, like Jay News said, your Jamie Hayters, your Megan Baynes, your Kris Statlanders, your Willows, all in one big matchup, casino gauntlet style. Maybe throw in the likes of like Tekla, maybe have a Mariah May come back, maybe someone who's a WWE release, one of the few people that they want to pick from those releases can make their debut there as well. That'd be something fun for the women's division to add on top of this. But I totally understand Tony Khan's decision making with putting Mercedes versus Timeless Toni Storm, because you want the biggest card possible, and especially since you were pivoting with the main event, I definitely understand now why he did Mercedes winning this matchup. Kris, did you have any issues with Mercedes being the choice here over Jamie Hayter, or did you think they could have gone the other way?
Hold on. No, I didn't have a problem with it because like I said, from the day she signed, I knew she was going to be somebody that they were not going to just be pinning all willy-nilly. And not to in AEW, they do not protect wrestlers the way WWE does, because I think WWE is kind of like crazy with it anyway. But I think with Mercedes, they're telling the story of her being like the belt collector and this, just woman that thinks she's better than everybody and proves it all the time. So when she does fall, it's going to be like very, very epic, almost like I said Roman Reigns, but I remember like Kurt Angle was doing kind of a story like this in TNA back in the day. I just think that this is the story they're telling with Mercedes until they stop telling it,
Yeah, I think, and like I see people complaining because they feel like no Athena. Like I said, if the non-title women's matchup that they're doing outside of Mercedes and Tony is a Casino Gauntlet, Athena will be in that, guys. Don't worry. I have it on good authority. Athena will be at All In.
And for all intents and purposes, folks, it is May 26th. All In is on July 12th.
Yeah,
take it easy.
Away,
Take it easy. All right, have some patience.
Like I said, I think that the best choice for the second matchup would be a Casino Gauntlet because they have way too many talented women on this roster.
That's a good call, bro. And whoever wins gets a shot at whoever comes out to be champion on whatever the next event's going to be. So that makes complete sense to me. Had the women ever had a Casino Gauntlet? I don't recall if they have or not.
Yeah, they had at Maximum Carnage, the Dynamite episode from Cincinnati in January, but that's the only one they've had.
Gotcha.
Josh, what do you think about the decision here going with Mercedes over Jamie Hayter?
I don't think it's a bad one. No, even though when I said that I picked Jamie, I picked Jamie based off of storyline. That was the only reason why I picked her. Mercedes, obviously, when you pick somebody like that, it's more of moving tickets and it's a prime matchup. Mercedes versus Toni Storm. People kind of been wanting that for a while too. So in that aspect, I get it. And then also, because the all-in tickets lately, I've actually been doing a lot better. I think last week was like they moved about 800 tickets. So so they are getting better, and now because you're making matchups, that's only going to help. You have both title matches already announced. And then, the coming weeks, there's going to be more stuff announced, all right? We already know Omega and Okada is happening. And I think once that's officially announced, then you're going to see a lot more of that being moved. But besides that, I'm fine with the move. I was surprised when she won. I was like, oh, shit. And I knew, people were going to be unhappy, but I think that's more people unhappy that, again, they have a weird hatred towards Mercedes. Maybe
the Mercedes Hogan argument is so stupid because everyone is benefiting from her going on this run, and I think Jay New said Kris said whenever she does lose, it's gonna mean something. I honestly right now I would not mind if she won the title. Because I don't feel like Timeless Toni Storm needs to be the person who gets that first win over Mercedes. I would love for it to be Willow Nightingale. Give me the Casino Gauntlet. Give me Willow winning. Give Mercedes the double championship, and then Willow finally gets the win over, or Kris Statlander. Willow or Kris feels like the person because they have that built-in history with Mercedes and the failures of beating her for the TBS championship. Those are the two that is my biggest candidates to be the first one to beat Mercedes.
And then and add to that, I think the only reason why that argument has been brought up over Mercedes Hogan is because she made some comments about I think they asked her, oh, do you have creative control? And I think she answered it, right? But my thing is people just don't read the room. where it was like she answered it in a way that like she answered it because she was talking about her character. She's talking about her gimmick. She has more input on what she wants to do in her gimmick. That's what she meant. She didn't mean it by wins and losses. Like that's not her call, and that's never been anybody's call. So that's why the whole thing is funny.
I don't think she's strong arming wrestlers like I'm beating you tonight or that doesn't work for me, sister, or none of, she's not doing that. like she's Mercedes is an artist. That's why she left WWE, because they didn't care about the women's tag team division. They were booking her and Trinity and some bullshit, and she didn't. And she need Mercedes and Ricochet, people like that. They need a good canvas to do their art. That's why they left WWE. WWE wasn't providing them the canvas, and that's why she's in AEW. She's not there to like strong arm people. So get that shit out your head. And you're doing that because she's a woman and she's black, and that's my opinion. So.
And then it's nasty work, like Thought Pillow said. I need people to stop comparing a black woman to Hogan. I need them to stop comparing women in general, because they do the same shit to Becky. Yeah. When Becky and Mercedes are two of the most giving women ever, and they're two of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Like, they are not on the Hulk Hogan. The people that use that term and label these two women, Becky Hogan, Mercedes Hogan, Rhea. I've even heard Rhea Ripley, Rhea Hogan. You sound so stupid, and you are basically telling us you did not live through Hulk Hogan. You don't know what it was, what Hulk Hogan was doing. When you say that type of shit.
All the time. All the time. People use that term. They use that term. They use the WCW 2001, like they try to use terms of shit that I know for a fact you didn't even watch it or live through it to even try to use that as some kind of like gotcha. Again, with Mercedes, this was what she left. This was what not only she wanted, but then also when you're the highest paid woman in any company, I mean, you expect her to, what do you expect her to do? I'm just saying, if I'm paying somebody so much money and they're labeled as the highest paid, I'm not using them in a 6-man role. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And she's the one doing all like the media appearances for them. She's on like the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. She's bringing eyes to the product. And Mercedes is given, like, the women that she wrestles, she always wrestles matches with them where you think that they might win. Hogan never did that. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. Anytime Hogan was in the match, he'd like lose for a second, hulk up, and then beat their ass. Mercedes is like, even when she beat Hayter last night, she didn't beat her like by using her move. She beat her like by like sheer luck. So I don't know.
It's because she had the Hayter rate scouted, and then I will say, we got the super chat donation here from Crayos. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. He said that DDT pin finish though, I think that wasn't what she was going for, but goddamn, was that a great finish?
Yeah.
It worked. The finish worked. Like I said when we were reviewing the match earlier. It had Jamie coming out looking strong, anyways. At the end of the day, and just to add to what everybody else has been saying, in regards to Mercedes and stuff like that, I think just from a generalistic standpoint, I think folks lack nuance when it comes to conversations like these nowadays. So I'll add that in there. But to end on the Mercedes point, I feel like Professor Kris was saying, and like Josh was saying, she's helped elevate the women that she's been in the ring with every time out, because she's getting that canvas to paint on. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't, and SP, you said this. I was never Mercedes' biggest fan. I just wasn't.
No, I remember arguing with you and Sanal before she debuted at Battle in the Valley in 2023.
Dude, but this AEW run has made me more of a fan of hers than what they had her doing in WWE. So that speaks to what it is that she's wanted to accomplish, I feel. So, you got a fan in me, Mercedes, no matter what, if you don't care or not. Good brother Jay News. He's riding for you.
and also the finish is good storytelling because of who she's about to face. Spoiler alert, with who won the women's title matchup, because she basically won with an arm tied small package.
You won with the big
one
package.
of one of the timeless Tony Soares moves is the big package. So it made sense in that way as well. So it was a very, very sublime finish there.
Yeah, it's Marilyn Monroe versus Beyonce, man. I'm here for it.
Love it. Love that comparison. Commentary did after the matchup go have the camera on them and actually talk. I think that's what Excalibur was trying to tell Tony. Like, now is not the time. We gotta focus on the matchup.
That was weird. That's an awkward. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, I think Tony just says whatever the fuck he wants. Sometimes he's just not that. He's not. He's better. He's better in the interview role. But he did have one of the best lines of his career later on in the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. Yep.
Dude, that was hilarious. Yep.
Commentary brings up Jim Ross and wished him well after his recent cancer diagnosis and surgery. Excalibur puts over JR working and helping him as a commentator over the past 6 years, as Schiavone and Taz bring up JR being a mentor to both of them, and they all want him back at the commentary table soon. And that led into our second matchup, where commentator Nigel McGuinness teamed up with Daniel Garcia with Daddy Magic to face FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler with Stokely Hathaway in their corner. McGuinness unfortunately didn't get his Oasis fucking in the bushes theme like at All In last year, which is a disappointment. Notches this matchup a little bit down for me. Garcia scrapped with Wheeler Yuta in a fast opening sequence. Then Nigel came in after Dax Harwood demanded he tag in. They started exchanging blows. Dax was firing off on Nigel's chest. Nigel's chest was like red like 5 minutes into this matchup. Nigel responded with some thrust chops to his throat. McGuinness did his corner headstand into a punt and then clubbing blow combo on Wheeler Yuta in the corner. FTR got the advantage and they were very cocky, talking trash to Tony Schiavone as Hathaway screamed that he caused this. McGuinness tried to his comeback lariat, but Wheeler cut him off and delivered a Tower of London off the apron as Dax went over to the other commentary desk, the Spanish commentary desk, and started talking trash. McGuinness remained isolated for a bit until Garcia made the hot tag. He started running wild for a bit. We had a nice series of reversals that led to Garcia finally getting his back suplex for a 2. We get the Dragon Tamer applied, but Wheeler took Garcia's head off with a lariat. McGuinness snapped Wheeler down on his shoulder and then traded Tower of London attempts with Harwood before finally hitting it with the Garcia assist. We get Wheeler saved his partner from a Shatter Machine attempt. Both tried to come back lariat, but they instead get reversed into the different submissions, Dragon Tamer and London Dungeon, but Hathaway made enough of a save until Daddy Magic pulled him out of the ring. McGuinness brought Wheeler over to Schiavone while in a submission and made Wheeler say sorry to Schiavone. The match broke down and Wheeler recovered and said that he had his fingers crossed when he said sorry to Schiavone. He said, "I ain't sorry about shit." Garcia started doing his 3 Amigos superplexes. He hits 2, he goes for a 3rd, but Wheeler saved his partner, and then Dax does a twisting superplex on Garcia, and Wheeler comes off the top rope to complete the powerplex for a 2 count. Taz pointed out that Wheeler's knee could be hurt after the landing. McGuinness tried a Tower of London off the apron, but FTR was able to counter, and they hit the Shatter Machine on the floor right in front of Tony Schiavone. Schiavone leaves commentary to check on McGuinness, who looked like he was bleeding from the mouth. Despite being trash talked by FTR and Stokely, you get Garcia fights off both members of FTR, but they eventually drop him with Dax hitting a power driver, but Garcia kicks out at 2. They go for the spike power driver and they nail it, but Garcia gets his foot on the rope at like 2.99. We get them looking like they're going to go for the Shatter Machine, but instead Dax applies the sharpshooter. Daddy Magic gets on the apron and Cash Wheeler takes him out with a huge tope suicida, taking him out. And then he basically guards the ring as McGuinness struggles to get onto the apron and make the save. Garcia struggles. He tries to get to the ropes. He tries to fight get out of it, but eventually he passes out from the pain. FTR pick up the victory via referee stoppage. I felt like this match was good. It just went on really, really long. Like, I think this match went actually longer than the opener, which is like, that's kind of ridiculous. But good match overall. I just thought it could have been better if they kind of cut off like 5, maybe even 10 minutes to this. I think if they just would have went straight to the point, it deserved all of it because I have liked the storyline, and I thought that the storyline was the first storyline that they gave Daniel Garcia to kind of sink his teeth into, but he comes up short here. Nigel McGuinness comes up short in another matchup, but really good matchup overall. So I gave the match 3 3/4 stars. I just think it would have been great if you cut a little bit of the time off a bit. Kris, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I liked it. I think you're having a good pay-per-view when this match is like one of your bottom matches. Because it was a good match, but it did go on a little long. I liked the story they told in the match. I thought it was fine. I'm guessing they're gonna go on after this. So I don't know if like what's gonna happen with Nigel is like a heel turn or something. I don't know, but it was cool. I liked the match.
Josh, what did you think?
The matchup was fine. It did go a little too long. So I think, at least to me, they focused too much on the Tony Schiavone thing, a little too much for my liking, because I think that's what kind of added to the time. So I think that was part of it. They would have cut maybe, like 5 minutes off of that. Talking about 5, 7 minutes, whatever the case may be, it would have been better. They focused on that a little too much without like no real outcome, in my opinion. They didn't even do nothing to him. I was hoping for like a little punch or something, but that's just me, just to add to the heat. But the match was fine. I thought the match itself was fine. I just thought it went too long because of that.
That's fair. J News.
Yeah, solid match all around. I thought the storytelling was well done between everybody who was involved. Not too sure if the Nigel thing, the injury was a work or not necessarily, because the landing on the Shatter Machine was pretty gnarly. So I didn't necessarily know if he was selling it or not. So there's that. I thought, specifically speaking about Nigel, this is probably the strongest I've seen Nigel look in the matches that he's been in AEW. To say the least, because I was part of the freaking minority. I was disappointed with the match he had with Daniel Bryan, with Bryan Danielson, should I say? I didn't feel he looked strong enough, and then that match he had with Lee was better, but it wasn't up to par. But this fit more of Nigel's aesthetic at the end of the day. So I liked how Nigel looked here. Daniel Garcia, they're keeping him strong. For whatever reason, I'm not too sure what Tony Khan's plans for Danny are necessarily. So I think, like Professor Kris said, I think they're going to continue this going forward on Collision. Depends on as to where they take it. If there's any sort of heel turns with any of the character with either Daniel Garcia or Nigel McGuinness and things of that nature. But like Josh said, I think they paid too much attention to the Tony Schiavone aspect of this match. Just because Tony's not used to this stuff, you know what I'm saying? So he was a fish out of water in all this, you know what I'm saying? So I think he might have taken too much time with the whole trying to look after Nigel part, and then him not necessarily having that chemistry with certain talents in order to just be efficient with his timing during what was happening during the match. I think that's what dragged it on a little bit too much, but thankfully, they're on pay-per-view and they were able to cover this up. So, but solid match all around.
Yeah. Bunch of people kind of agree, kind of like could have went a little bit too long. So, yeah, probably just needed to cut the Tony Schiavone stuff out of it, except for, of course, Big Man Dogs, who said the Tony stuff popped me. So, there you go.
Everyone. Of course, it would for him. Of course, it would for him.
Next up, we had a stretcher match. Ricochet going one-on-one with Mark Briscoe. And like the build to this wasn't much, but man, did these guys over-deliver. They explained at the top of the matchup that the ambulance was backed into the arena as there was a stretcher ringside and also one next to the ambulance. All the competitors had to do was put their opponent on the stretcher and put the stretcher into the ambulance to score the win. Briscoe was attacked right at the bell, but quickly turned the tide. He dragged Ricochet over to the ambulance and nearly placed him in it. But then Ricochet ran back to the ring like it was a fucking cartoon. He ran back with the funniest run back ever. Briscoe drove a stretcher into his ribs and placed Ricochet on it and then teased the cactus elbow off the apron, but Ricochet was able to dodge it and hits a pump knee. Briscoe was set up on the stretcher, and Ricochet tried for a shooting star press off the apron, but he crashed and burned and bounced off the stretcher. Briscoe then successfully hit the cactus driver on the cactus elbow on the second time around off the apron, and then again off the barricade. He chucked a chair at Ricochet's head and said that Taz said that was a shout out to the late great Sabu. Then he pulls out a bucket full of cleaning products. He freaking sprays his head with disinfectant as he puts him in a headlock and then shines his bald head up before walloping him right on the head with the bucket. Briscoe then did the Sabu pose and wanted a triple jump move, but Ricochet launched a chair into his face. Briscoe battled back with an exploder suplex, but then Ricochet got the cleaning spray and misted Briscoe in the eyes. Briscoe was driven face first into the exposed stretcher, busting him open. And goddamn, does the Briscoe brothers in general in their career, they know how to deliver a crimson mask, because this was a fucking leaker. Ricochet pushed Briscoe on a stretcher back to the ambulance, nearly loaded him in there, but Briscoe was able to get a crush into the door frame and keep it from closing to save the matchup. He then comes out of the ambulance with the fire extinguisher and sprays it in Ricochet's face. He's bleeding buckets at this point, but he still hits the J Driller in the ring before setting up a table up at ringside, and he delivers a crazy looking froggy bow off the top rope through the table. Both go up the ramp where Briscoe wanted another J Driller, but Ricochet was able to backdrop him. Briscoe recovers first and was hot on pursuit, but Ricochet then pulls out some gold scissors from under the ring and stabs him in the head with it. He tries again, but Briscoe's able to block it. He thrust chops him and then secures the scissors. He even does a slash emoji across his throat that wouldn't be allowed in TNA to signal that he's going to take care of him and use the gold scissors. But Ricochet is ready as he had a second pair of gold scissors in the ambulance. He pulls it out, stabs Briscoe in the head with it again, and then Briscoe initially no-sold it, so he kicks him low, hits him with the third scissor shot, and then finishes him off with the spirit gun before loading him onto the stretcher and into the ambulance to score the victory. This is Ricochet's first win on an AEW pay-per-view since signing with the promotion, and goddamn, this was awesome. I love this match. I might be the high man on this, but I absolutely love this in every way possible. Mark Briscoe is the certified guaranteed banger on pay-per-view at this point, and Ricochet is on a career run as one of the best heels in pro wrestling today. I gave this 4.25 stars. This was the matchup that exceeded my expectations the most, and it's probably on the high end of some of the best stretcher matches that I think I've ever seen. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, this was my favorite. And this match had a lot of my favorite moments in it. Show some love for Ricochet. If you would have told me a year or two ago that he had this in him, I would have, like when he was doing all that superheroes are real bullshit in WWE, I would have thought you were smoking some good shit. But this guy has had a career resurgence like I've never seen. This Ricochet character, just like the little things that he does, like switching from the long tights to the trunks, I actually think it works for this character. And even like he's managed to turn like his baby face moves into heel moves, man. Love this. And Mark Briscoe, man, the second life that he has had after the passing of his brother, R.I.P. Jay, you know, it's just been amazing to see. And yeah, this was an awesome match, man. I absolutely loved it. And like I'm looking to see where this Ricochet asshole goes.
J News, what did you think?
I said it during our preview, man. I thought that this match could be one of those sleeper hits and one of those matches that could steal the show. And those two gentlemen definitely entertained the hell out of me during this match. Ricochet right now, man, he's on a career roll right now, and it's good to see for such a talented individual. I saw him cut his promo for the match right before we got on here. I didn't get to see that on the Double or Nothing buy-in. Him talking
Well,
about
he kept saying ambulance.
Ambulance. That's right. He's talking ambulance.
Yeah.
We call the ambulance up to pick up the people. That's it right there. So dude he's funny. He's a jerk. It's amazing to see this turnaround for him character-wise. And like Professor Kris said, it is interesting how he's been able to personify his freaking face moveset and make it heel stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's a testament to him and his character work and things of that nature. I don't think I can say anything else about what Mark Briscoe, what Chicken can do, man. Like every time I see him out there, it's an emotional pull just because, like Professor Kris said, RPJ, it's an emotional pull every time you see Mark Briscoe out there. But the man delivers. I don't ever see him give you 50% or nothing. It's 100% or nothing. And I love that about Mark Briscoe, man. He still lays it out on the line for us, man. And that blood spot, bro. First of all, the camera shot after the match was over with the scissor and the blood on the floor, I was like, oh my, this is movie shit right here, dude. So shouts to the cameraman for that one as well. And yeah, man, it's interesting the differentiation and dynamics of how AEW does comedy wrestling and how other companies do comedy wrestling, even within the structure of a hardcore match and stuff like that. Yeah. So shouts to those two guys for putting on a banger of a match. That froggy bow off the top through the table was
the bumps in this matchup were fucking sick, yo. I was like, they are going all out. This was all thriller, no filler. This was all the shits.
But good luck for them. This is definitely. I'm looking forward to whatever either of these two guys are gonna do in the future and stuff. So, shouts to them, man. Shouts to them.
Yeah, and great comment here by Big Man Dogs. He said, character-wise, Ricochet has gone from being the shits to being the shit. Fire emoji. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that shit he was doing at WWE was so fucking corny, man. It was not good. And I understand he was used as fodder to get guys over, you know. Now that Ricochet should never be in that role.
Agreed. We got super chat donation from our boy Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support. He says it would have been cool if Ricochet looked into the camera and said, "Yo, J-Brone, hope you were taking notes, son." I guess making a Javon Evans reference. I mean, one person was on their major show last night and the other wasn't. So I don't know who. I don't know if you want to take that as. I'm just saying.
You know what? The kid did it to himself. He did it to himself.
I'm kidding. I fucks with Javon. I love Javon Evans. Josh, what did you think about Ricochet and Briscoe here?
It was a fun matchup. I expected it to deliver. Did I expect it to deliver the way that it did? Maybe not. But at the same time, you know, you have two great performers. I think we all know what Ricochet could do. And this is not his really kind of match. So the fact that he even delivered in this kind of match, it goes to show you, like, when you give a guy something, he's gonna make the best out of it. And obviously, because of the heel turn and everything that he's been doing, I mean, he's not only making the best out of it, but he's kind of rejuvenated his career because of it. And I think that there's a bigger appreciation for Ricochet, not only for what he did like in New Japan. I think with WWE, it's just very unfortunate, because I think a lot of us kind of knew where he was going with WWE, because guys like him who really don't talk, they're more flippy guys. They usually doesn't end up really well for them. And and that's why for a while we were just like, Ricochet, get out of WWE, please. And the best opportunity he got, he left. He listened and he left, and he's making the best out of it while making money. So it's not like it's a bad move. He's making money while having a career resurgence. So it's been fun to see. And in regards to Mark, I've been saying it for a long time. I'm like, yo, every time Mark goes up there, if it's a hardcore match, if it was a regular match, he always fucking delivers. He finds a way to make it interesting. There was even that match I think he had. What was it, with Bobby Lashley or one of the Hurt Syndicate members, where it was kind of a squash match, but then he still made the best out of it, where he jumped. He had the table and then he jumped off it and shit. So he always finds a way to make the best out of the situation. I think it's been great to see, just because of him, what he's had to deal with, and the fact that he's dealing what he had to deal with to where he's gone now. I mean, I think on a personal level, kind of just shows you how strong that man is, and I think it's very fun to see. Like win or loss, it don't matter. Like, we all know that he's gonna deliver, and I think that's why I think there's a bigger appreciation when it comes to Mark and everything that he's doing, because no matter what, he's always gonna show the fuck out, and this was no different. In regards to the match, I mean, the part that Ricochet ran back to the ring was hilarious, because I was like, why did he run back to the ring? He didn't need to do that. He just needs to get out of the ambulance and stay out there. So that made it funny. Like, shit like that was funny. And once he got the scissors out, that's where I knew it was over. I was like, oh shit. All right. I was like, all right, it's about to end once he got the scissors out. But it was fun, man. Really, really fun matchup. And the right guy won when it comes down to it.
Yeah. I want to say Ricochet is a textbook example of a guy who bet on himself and made the right decision, So I can't say enough positive things about that brother this year.
And I agree with Big Man Dogs in the chat. Yeah, he says the TNT title belongs to either Ricochet or Fletcher. I wouldn't mind either one of them. Would be in the next TNT.
Me neither. I wanted to add one more thing about Ricochet, and I think this goes a long way with any wrestler who goes from one company to the next. Like, if you can reinvent yourself, that's one thing, but you not having to be a champion and not caring about eating pins, just getting your character over, does wonders for your career.
Yeah.
So pay attention if you're not paying attention to whoever might take that offensively.
That's actually a good thing, because I think a lot of people get confused with, mostly fans, that they think that there's this perception of this person needs to be a world champion. What people don't know is that there's a lot of talent who actually don't want to be a world champion. They just want to go out there, perform, and do what they want to do. And I think Ricochet is in that department where he just wants to do what he wants to do. If a championship comes about, by all means, I think if he puts in the work, it's going to happen. And I think that's what he's been doing, where it's getting to a point where it's like, I wouldn't mind if he gets like the TNT title, but what he's been doing has been great, to the point that it's like, it doesn't even matter if he ever wins a world championship or not to me.
Yeah, I feel like out of the two of them, Fletcher needs it more because of where he's at in his career. Whereas Ricochet has created a character that doesn't necessarily need a title to be effective. But let's talk about the next matchup, which was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the new look Hurt Syndicate with MJF and MVP in their corner. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin defend the AEW World Tag Team titles against Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions, the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. Tony Schiavone rejoins the commentary, informing us that Nigel McGuinness believes he has some cracked ribs, but he's in good spirits despite the loss. And new graphic is shown for the Hurt Syndicate's entrance as MJF's name is officially listed with the crew. The crowd is as loud as they've been all night, which I thought helped this matchup a lot, as they were very much into the Hurt Syndicate with "We Hurt People" chants for the supposed heels in this matchup. Rhodes was almost immediately worked over in the corner as he went at it with Bobby Lashley. Shelton Benjamin tags in and he starts hitting his German suplexes. Sammy Guevara gets tagged in. He hits a leapfrog drop kick, but Benjamin recovered and it takes him to Suplex City before tagging in Lashley. Guevara dodges a spear into a pump knee. He avoided a corner charge, but ran into a massive spine buster by Lashley. Guevara remained worked over as MJF is jaw-jacking with the fans in the process. He starts a "We Hurt People" chant, even though he's trying to troll the fans in the crowd. Lashley caught Guevara float over from a power slam position, spinning him into an impressive looking dominator for a 2 count. Benjamin tags in. He tries for a pop-up, but Guevara countered into a cutter for a double down. Dustin Rhodes tags in and he starts cleaning house, snap power slam, code red on Benjamin for 2. Rhodes wanted his unnatural kick, but MJF took the referee, allowing Rhodes to hit the Shatter Machine unnatural kick. Lashley tumbled to the ring with Guevara, but Benjamin rolled through as Rhodes' suplex attempt into an ankle lock. Guevara made the save with the snap Hurricane Rana as Rhodes hit a crossroads, while Guevara took out Lashley with a shooting star press off the post to the floor, which looked really impressive. MJF again, gets on the apron and he offers Benjamin the Dynamite Diamond Ring, saying that this is taking too long, which I agree. Thank you, MJF. You're always the smartest man in the room. Lashley put a stop to that, not wanting to win in that way. MVP told MJF to calm down. Guevara tried a springboard cutter on Lashley, who sidestepped it and hits a huge spear. Rhodes made the save as MVP took the referee. On the other side of the ring, you had MJF try to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring on Dustin Rhodes, but Lashley stopped him once more, only to smile and then turn around and deliver a massive spear through the barricade on Dustin Rhodes, basically taking him out of this matchup. He embraced MJF. MJF gave him a hug as Guevara wanted to dive, but just narrowly was cut off by Benjamin. Benjamin hits his step-up knee in the corner and then follows up with the Hurt thrust kick for the 1-2-3 for the Hurt Syndicate to retain. This wasn't as bad as I had to go back and watch it because this was my bathroom break where I took time to watch Stephanie McMahon versus Jordan Grace on Battleground. But I came back and watched it this morning. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. I thought that the Hurt Syndicate being as over as they were it adds to their matches. And MJF being out there, it always was that kind of underlining feeling that MJF could turn on them at any point. So that added something to the matchup. But otherwise, 2 3/4 stars. So that's up from the last couple of shows where they had 1 star with the Outrunners and 2.5 stars with the Learning Tree. So up from there. Josh?
No, I mean, I said it last night too. I was like, it was better than it had any business being, no pun intended. When it comes to that, I mean, the match itself, I mean, like I said, it was because I wasn't too fond with the segments between them, like the promos, and even though I like Dustin Rhodes, but I was just like, well, why is this team going against the Hurt Syndicate? even though Hurt Syndicate was going to win no matter what. So that's how I see it now. It's like, all right, cool. Like what happened, right? But the crowd was really behind the Hurt Syndicate, and they've been for a while. So you really you see like their popularity when it comes to the group. And then, MJF did add it to it. There was a funny post yesterday from our boy John Escudero where that picture with Bobby and MJF when they're dabbing each other. He posted a picture of the cartoon that said, "You white boy." I was like, oh no. It was so funny. I was like,
My favorite post was somebody putting Eminem with Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre. That's my favorite.
I didn't even see that. You know? But it's like stuff like that. Like it was fun, and the spear was pretty fun too because I didn't expect that. I was like, what the fuck? Like he stopped him just so he could just spear him to the barricade. But overall, it was a fine matchup for what we got. It was a fine matchup.
Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, it was. I probably go a little higher than you said, like 3 stars maybe, but it was okay. It was fine. The crowd definitely made that match. And I understand why the Texas Suns were as competitive as they were because they're tag team champions as well, and you don't want to have the Hurt Syndicate just destroy them, but and it was a decent showcase match, and you got Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley on a pay-per-view, and I think that's at the end of the day, Tony Khan cares about that more than the match being good. It's just getting Bobby Lashley and Shelton on the pay-per-view every chance he could get them because they're over and the crowd makes their matches. So
that's true. J News?
Yeah, I thought that the match was solid. I thought it was good. Shouts to Bobby Lashley for showing MJF the way. Brother, the Hurt Syndicate is about hurting people. That ring doesn't matter anymore. We put people through barricades. You see the difference here? You know what I'm saying? Bobby out here teaching lessons, you know what I'm saying? During a wrestling match. So I got to give Bobby credit for that. That nice bit of storytelling within the match in that particular perspective. Like everybody else was saying, the lead up to this was not the best from a promo standpoint and things of that nature and all that jazz. The lead up to this was not great, but the match did what it was supposed to do at the end of the day. Now, the only thing I do have to say is that making the Hurt Syndicate the tag team champions does book you into a corner.
It does, yeah.
So and at the end of the day, we love the Hurt Syndicate, but it does book you into a corner because the majority of the other tag teams in the division just don't literally size up to the Hurt Syndicate. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where it's like, who is going to defeat them? Obviously, you have your guys like FTR and things of that nature. Once you get Brian Cage back with Lance Archer, maybe that's a way you go and whatnot. Maybe once Buddy Murphy comes back, Buddy Matthews comes back, maybe you can pair him and Big Brody back together. But for right now, these other smaller tag teams ain't got no shot. Realistically, like physically speaking, they
no one's coming close. Like I felt like this would have been a cool spot. Like I think I heard someone say like they should have done like Top Flight and Crew in like a 3-way because that would have been fun for those guys to fly around and then Hurt Syndicate eventually put them down. That would have made for a better matchup. I feel like the last 2 months has been the better spot for the Paragon. I think O'Reilly and Roddy have been killing it in their matches against FTR on Collision. You could have gave them one of those wins that you gave FTR recently to get them into the Hurt Syndicate for a title matchup if you wanted to split apart that rivalry so FTR could focus on Garcia and McGuinness. But as long as like FTR is doing their own storyline with the Garcia and Nigel and then eventually Cope, and you got the Bucks worried about kind of like main event scene and party matches, it's gonna struggle this whole tag team division.
Yeah, because it just seems splintered at the end of the day. So it's like, and the pieces aren't coming together. So everyone's doing their own thing, and what they're doing is working for the most part, but they're not coming together, which is kind of whack. But I would love to see FTR with Stoke go head to head with the Hurt Syndicate just to see how that matches with that BP and all that stuff. I want to see that how it all.
That'd be cool. So go ahead, or.
No, I was just gonna say, just embrace that the Hurt Syndicate are baby faces. This
Yeah.
crowd loves them.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
like you I think that's also an issue, that they want them to be kind of heels so they can only put babyface tag teams against them, but you don't really have an abundance of babyface tag teams that are over with the crowd.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah, I agree. They do need to be baby faces. I do want to point out something that I forgot. And that was Jeff Jarrett on the pre-show kept calling him the Hurt Business, and Renee had to like come in and correct him because he did it like a few times, and I think she was waiting for him to catch himself, so she finally had to come in and say the Hurt Syndicate, so thought that was funny.
It was funny because the whole time RJ's there holding the mic and he's mouthing Syndicate.
RJ is always on the money. Always on the money. You're trying his best. Next up was another example of a match that I thought exceeded expectations on this card, as we had the AEW Continental Championship up for grabs. Kazuchika Okada defending against Speedball Mike Bailey. And this is a prime example of why Speedball Mike Bailey might be one of the better signings in recent memory for AEW, because I don't think they have a better utility player than Speedball Mike Bailey, who gets the most out of everybody. Okada got the big pyro, big entrance, signature mind games early on in the matchup. Bailey answered with the springboard into a snap hurricane rata. He dodged, Okada dodged a slingshot dive and then teased the DDT, but Bailey drove him into the steel steps. He wound up for a home run PK, but Okada moved out the way, so Bailey kicked the steps. Okada thought that he had time to recover and started laughing into the camera, but then Bailey, who was selling it, then basically went into a crane position, and Okada ran at him. Didn't you watch Cobra Kai season finale? Don't run right into the crane kick, man. You're going forward. It's never going to work out for you. He gets booted right into the face. Then Bailey follows up with the triangle moonsault. Back inside, we get rapid fire kicks, but then Okada catches the leg and does a dragon screw leg whip. Okada then followed up with a flapjack and a DDT onto the floor, and then one back inside for a 2 count. Okada was very cocky at this point, so Bailey tried chopping his way back into it, but a snapmare into a low drop kick gave Okada control again. Then he went for a baseball slide, but Bailey hopped onto the apron and then hits a crazy looking acai moonsault onto Okada. Okada rolled back into the ring, right into a missile drop kick by Bailey. He started firing off stiff kicks and then hits a rolling shooting star press for a 2. Okada answered, catching a charging Bailey in the corner with the air raid crash knee breaker, neck breaker, stalling basically all my body weight on top of you, top rope elbow drop. Okada doesn't even try anymore with these elbow drops. He used to at least jump. He doesn't even jump anymore. He just comes right down with the elbow. Then he does the Rainmaker flip off, but Bailey nearly stole one with a roll up at that point. He popped up and almost hit a thrust kick, but Okada matrixed it and then flipped him off. So Bailey lit him up with some more kicks and then goes for the shooting star press, but Okada gets his knees up. We get dueling chants for both guys. They start trading forearms. Bailey responded with the thrust kick. He went for the time adventure, but Okada initially dodged it, but Bailey then threw a wild kick. He wanted the Ultimo weapon, but Okada drop kicks him off the top rope. Bailey avoided an apron tombstone. He swept the leg and then does the moonsault double knees right onto the apron. He then hits a corner time adventure. He misses Ultimo weapon again as Okada then hits him with the shotgun drop kick. Bailey put on the brakes for an Okada drop kick and hits another double knees. He goes for the time adventure again, but Okada catches him with a beautiful drop kick. He goes for the Rainmaker, but Bailey finally hits the time adventure, only for Okada to get his hand on the rope. Despite referee Rick Knox counting the 3, he did notice that he had the rope right in time. Bailey brought Okada up by the wrist and started firing off kicks, but Okada answered with lariats. He goes for the Rainmaker, but Bailey wrapped him up with a straightjacket pin attempt, which had the crowd bite on that finishing attempt, on that near fall. These near falls are a credit to both guys that they had the crowd convinced. And then we got, in my opinion, outside of the main event, the best finishing sequence of the night. As Bailey hits him with a big kick, he goes to the top rope. He goes for Ultimo Weapon again, but this time Okada catches him with the best timing ever on the drop kick. This was Bailey and Okada just working seamlessly with each other with this drop kick in midair out of the Ultimo Weapon. He then follows up with the Rainmaker flush, turning Bailey inside out. 1, 2, 3. Kazuchika Okada picks up the victory to retain the AEW Continental Championship. This was Okada's best match of the year so far. This was fucking awesome. I loved every minute of it. This was Speedball Mike Bailey, who he refuses for anyone to give him less than 100%. This was like an Okada high of 9 out of 10. This was a 9 out of 10 Okada, because this is what wasn't prime, G1 Tokyo Dome Okada, but this was Dominion Osaka Joe Hall Okada right here, because he had the timing on his drop kick, he had the timing on his counters, he was his usual cocky, very charismatic self. But Speedball Mike Bailey, he is just so good. I'm sick of these people denying him. I'm sick of the Jimmy Macarams of the world not giving this man credit. He gives 100% every single time. He shows the fuck out, and he brought out the best of Okada here. I gave this one 4.25 stars. J News, what did you think about Speedball and Okada here?
I told you, right? I told you he wasn't going to allow no half-assery during this goddamn match. Speedball Mike Bailey, my friend, you are the man. Okada, sir, you are still a legend in this great sport of professional wrestling. I don't want to hear the slander about, oh, he ain't got it no more. I hate this character. Live and bask in the gimmick, because this is what it is. He will play to your strengths. If you're going in there half-assing it, he's going to half-ass it. If you're going to go in there at 100 miles an hour, he's going to go at 100 miles an hour. Match his gangster. That's what he's telling you to do in these damn matches. So it's like, man, Speedball Mike Bailey can't do any, like, for all intents and purposes, the signings that AEW has had this year have all individually done their parts to be strong characters and / in-ring performers for the stake of their stay so far. And Speedball Mike Bailey, I knew he was going to bring out this version of Okada in this match, because he's got that Hogan in him, in the sense of, this doesn't work for me, brother. Don't come into this ring and half-ass your work. If you're gonna do that, I don't want this match. You know what I'm saying? That's
I'm gonna half-assery myself. Don't worry, I'm good at that.
So it's like, for me, I was waiting to see what Okada was going to be able to do in this match against a guy like Speedball, because it's been a while since I've seen anybody stylistically go into a match like that with Okada, and it just worked. It worked tremendously. Okada's timing is like, there's few wrestlers in the world who have that timing when it comes to specific moves, when it comes to doing things during matches and whatnot. Shelton Benjamin is one of those people, even at 50. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to see Okada still be able to pull this off, which I knew he could, because at the end of the day, he is who he is, right? People are like, oh, I never watched New Japan. Stay calm. Stay calm. You're gonna
get it in July. Don't worry.
You're gonna understand why he's such a big deal. And I want to talk about the entrance, Okada's entrance. Like, when Okada's entrance hit, and I was like, man, he's still a big deal. Like, look at this entrance. He's still a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And they present him that way.
And the crowd responds to him. The crowd reacts to him like a big deal.
And they present him that way. And props to both these guys. Speedball Mike Bailey, man, they really have to ultimately consolidate the Continental and International Championships, or whatever the case is. They really need that mid-card title for these other guys on the roster, because it's like being held up with Kenny Omega and Okada. Is like, they're great. They don't need the championships. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, gives these guys some shine and stuff like that. So, hey, man, great job by both of these guys. Great match. Yeah,
great stuff overall. Kris, what did you think?
Oh yeah, I love this match too. I thought it was awesome. Okada, Yeah, he's gonna work to your level. That's been apparent. And Speedball, he brings it often. I thought this match was a good lead up to what was to follow. I thought it was great. I really did.
Josh?
It was a fun matchup. I did like the final sequence of it where he caught him with the drop kick. But overall, it was a fun matchup. Great. I wouldn't even mind if they was to run it back because I think they could even do more if they was to ever run it back sometime in the future. So I mean, it favors for both guys, right? I think Speedball, you see how reliable he is, and ever since he's been on TV, he's shown out. And with Okada, I do agree with J News where a lot of people kind of, I don't know. I think they expect too much of the New Japan Okada, and it's just like no, he's, we're getting what we're getting because one, he's done it all at this point. In my opinion, he's done it all. There's not really much he needs to prove, and he got a big contract, which I'm not saying that made him maybe complacent, but he's in a situation where we know what he could do. And when he brings it out, he's gonna bring it out. So I think some people just need to stop complaining about oh, he says bips too much. It's like it's fucking funny. It's his personality, and I like it.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where it's like, well, Okada. What I like about it too is that anytime the company wanted, they could push him if they wanted to, and I think that's why Okada is in a good spot. Where it's like, let's have all the guys have their fun. We still have Okada, so if we ever want to do something with him, we could do it anytime we want. And I think that we're at a point that, I'm fine with that. And, if we're getting, which we will, we're getting Omega and Okada at All In, I mean, it's worth it. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's only a finite amount of time you get to be a wrestler. If you're fortunate, you'll be able to do it until you're like 55, 56. So, you got to watch your bumps and stuff and be meticulous with it. And I don't mind Okada doing that. He's done enough, like Josh said, it's like you gotta kind of he's at the money making stage of his career, the big money making stage of his career.
I want to say one more thing. Okada's in that spot where he's letting whoever his opponent is bring the competition, or else I'm just gonna beat you half-assed. You know what I'm saying? He's in that spot. He's either bring the competition, or I'm just gonna beat you half-assed. You let me know. He lets the other guy dictate at the end of the day. So it's like he's in that. That's how good he is. I think folks don't understand. They don't grasp that concept. He's that good. He's gonna let someone else dictate the pace, and he's still gonna beat you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, might as well.
Yeah, Bailey's first loss in AEW, first time he's been pinned, and it was a good one to get there. Like I seen someone else in the chat say that Bailey's in that Mark Briscoe territory of like he's always gonna give you a banger, and he's 2 for 2 so far on pay-per-view between the 3-way for the international title last month and then this one right here. This was one that kind of overachieved. This was probably, I would even put it up there. I think it's right behind the Ospreay matchup from World's End for Okada's best match in AEW.
Yeah. And then, with Speedball, what's crazy about Speedball too is that he works with any kind of style. For a guy that people know that he does like the flips, he does like stuff like that. He works with any style. And I think that this match was like no different when it comes to that.
Next up, we had the AEW Women's World Championship up for grabs. Mina Shirakawa challenging Timeless Toni Storm for the championship. Storm pranced to the ring wearing a mini top hat. As Excalibur brings up, this isn't the first time these two women have faced each other and questions if the sequel will be any different than the original. Taz brings up Luther is wearing cowboy boots and he's simply baffled and wasn't sure why he noticed that. Another match with dueling chants from the crowd to open things up. Shirakawa quickly zoned in on the leg that she targeted on Dynamite. So I always like a matchup that is basically a logical kind of reaction or a logical kind of conclusion to the build up to the show. And they only had a couple of shows to build this match up, but her going right after the leg immediately, I noticed. Storm wiggled out of a head scissors and did a little dance and offered a hand to bring Shirakawa, who thrusted her away in a pin attempt, catching Storm off guard for a 2 count. We get thrust chops to the throat by Storm as Shirakawa responded with a leg lock and slapping Storm, who got to the ropes. Thesz press fired off by Storm, but Shirakawa quickly drop kicked out her leg. Shirakawa tried a figure 4 on the post once again, like she did on Dynamite, but Storm pulled her face first into the ring post. Back in the ring, Storm worked over Shirakawa with the fisherman suplex for a 2. Shirakawa answered with a tornado DDT off the ropes, and then a snap drop kick and rolling elbow and a dragon screw combination, delivering another between the ropes. Luther tended to Storm at ringside, stepping in front of her, only for Shirakawa to boot him and then fire off a forearm, also giving one to Storm. Shirakawa managed an impressive little tornillo over the back of Luther onto Storm before wiping out Luther with a dive off the top rope. The distraction allowed Storm to recover and she hit a DDT on the floor, but Shirakawa got another dragon screw back into the ring. She tried for the figure 4, finally applying it, but Storm quickly rolled to the ropes. Storm threw a desperation headbutt, but Shirakawa fired off a back fist as they both collapsed to the mat. Both slugged it out on their feet as Shirakawa kept kicking out the leg until Storm countered a snap back suplex into multiple release German suplex. She followed up with Sweet Cheeks music, but her leg gave out as Shirakawa drop kicked her once again and then hit a rolling elbow and tried again, but Storm followed up with the sky high for a 2. Storm wanted another one out of the corner, but Shirakawa reverses that into a Hurricane Rana and then an inverted figure 4 at another point. Storm got to the ropes as Shirakawa went up top. She hit a top rope sling blade for a 2 count and then hit the glamorous driver Mina for a 2 once again. Storm kicked free of a figure 4 and hit Sweet Cheeks music, but she couldn't get Storm 0. Shirakawa rolled through a sky high into another figure 4 attempt, this time deep, but Storm was able to get to the ropes. Shirakawa went back to it, but Storm rolled her up with the big package. They traded pin attempts as she was fully prepared for the big package until eventually Storm gets up. She hits a big headbutt to the chin and then a quick Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. Timeless Toni Storm picks up the victory here against Mina Shirakawa. Post-match, Storm is celebrating. She helps Mina to her feet, and then they passionately exchange lips, exchange dark looks, and then they kiss as Taz is going ballistic. He says, "It's Phoenix. Sometimes fans kiss." Shirakawa thanks Storm before leaving as we get the official match graphic that it will be Timeless Toni Storm going one-on-one with Mercedes Moné at All In Texas on Saturday, July 12th. I thought this was a really damn good matchup. I thought these two had a great match at Forbidden Door. This was right on par with it. This was Mina really showing off her psychology. She's really good at limb work and going after the leg and working over the leg and setting up for the figure 4. And I thought the psychology of the matchup, the selling of Timeless Toni Storm, you never really see her sell like that, sell a body part in the way that she did, like her running for the Sweet Cheeks music and then our leg giving out. I thought they worked really well with one another, and you could tell they had that chemistry with each other. And of course, the kiss gets bonus points. So because of the kiss, 4 stars. Kris, what did you think about Mina and Toni here?
I thought Mina and Toni were awesome. I did love this match. I continue to say, and fight me if you want, that AEW's women's division is better than WWE's in my opinion. I just think they've got for for the AEW wrestlers there, I think they're just hitting on all cylinders. I love the match, all the moves. The kiss was great. And I like Taz because if this was Jerry the King Lawler on commentary, he would have been going crazy on like, HLA and all that crap. And but the Taz's subtle line, I thought it worked. And I liked Tony even in the press conference, because I did watch that. And I thought she was hilarious in that. Like anytime I see her, she like makes me laugh hysterically. And that's one of the characters my wife always recognizes when she's on TV and wants to listen to what she's saying, because she's just so funny and so great on the mic. She is fantastic.
Yeah, Tony Storm, the best character in pro wrestling. Argue with your mama. J News, what did you think?
Oh man, terrific match. Like you said, SP3, the psychology of it all, the selling of it all from Tony's perspective, even from Mina's perspective. Mina gave 100%, man. She showed out in this match. She showed folks as to why she deserves to be in AEW and why they signed her. Tony Storm, man, like you said, best character in professional wrestling going today. Without question. She entertains from all levels, and then she's gifted in the ring. That's not usually the case when it comes to things like that. So it's amazing to watch her work. The media scrum stuff was hilarious. She was playing bongos on freaking Luther's head and stuff like that. She also cut a backstage promo, which is only one line. So it begins. You know what I'm saying? So whatever they're gonna do between her and Mercedes is gonna really last the 6-week period, I guess, going into All In. So let's see as to how that all comes about. Not even wondering, it's a wait and see approach at this point with Mina as to what she's gonna do going into the future and things of that nature. So that's a good place for her to be, especially her being so new. And there just being a good wealth of talent on the women's roster for the time that the women get on AEW TV and on the pay-per-views, right, to wrestle their matches. I understand most folks gripe where it's like, why do we only get 2 women's matches? It's like, well, they get time in those 2 women's matches. Would you rather have 4 women's matches at 6 minutes apiece? Or would you get 2 matches at 12 to 15 minutes apiece? And I was like, let the women tell the story at the end of the day. And mind you, if we're paying really real close enough attention with AEW TV, a lot of the women do have concurrent storylines going on in different directions. Mm-hmm. So you have the Anna Jay and Hart and Harley Cameron stuff going on. Megan Baines is a solidified character on TV along with Penelope Ford. Obviously we have Tony Storm. Now we have Mina here. Mariah May's always looming at the end of the day. If she ever decides to come back, obviously you have new. We'll see. You have new women signees like Thekla. People are going to be waiting for. That red spider on your TV screens is not a hoax, folks. It's leading you sort somewhere at the end of the day. And then there's a few women who haven't come back from maternity leave be it Tamara, be it Ruby Riot, Ruby Soho, sorry, and stuff like that. And the ladies with the visa issues at the end of the day. Hikaru Shida, Konosuke Takeshi's wife. At the end of the day, I'm forgetting her name right now, but Yuka Zakazaki. There you go. So there you go. And obviously, everybody was screaming about Athena in the chat earlier, right? Like we want more Athena on TV. This is a way for her to come on in. So, but yeah, man. At the end of the day, the match was terrific. It was great. It showcased everybody, but the result was inevitable for us to get to where we needed to get to and for All In. So that's where we're at.
Josh, what did you think?
It was a really good matchup. Both of these ladies have already had chemistry. So for what they did, I pretty much expected it. It was a good matchup. So it wasn't, even though, nobody really expected Mina to win, but I think it's still a good job showcasing her and seeing how far she's come. anybody who's actually followed her career, like from Japan as well. So, and especially the way that AEW has been using her, she's obviously a crowd favorite, and so everything it really benefits her a lot. So but then we also had that ending where I know three got excited for I did too, but
I ain't get excited. Don't get me in trouble with my missus, sir. I just love cinema. I love cinema. I love things that make sense.
I mean, I do too. It's just that don't tell Wendy.
See, trying to get me in trouble, and you telling me to not tell somebody? Come on. We do have a pair of super chat donations from Krayos here, talking about the last two matches. First one, thank you so much, Krayos. We appreciate the support you give, brother. He says the finishing sequence with the Okada's dropkick to a mid-air Bailey whoop. I knew this would be a banger. Indeed, it was. And then we get Krayos also adds about this matchup. Thank you once again. He says Mina has fit right into AEW. Her outings have all been very solid. I'm curious as to how they use her going forward. She really feels like kind of like not unlike. Of course, not on like the ability in the ring rate, but really like Will Ospreay, like Will Ospreay's time before he signed at the end of 2023, we got like 2 years of him doing guest appearances. So it was a natural kind of transition of him going from New Japan to AEW. And we really got that with Mina last year. Last year, her guest appearances really made this a seamless transition for her to be an official star on the AEW roster.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. She's been seamlessly transitioned in. She fits right in. And the work, I think, and I think Will Ospreay made a comment about this over the weekend. I love Will Ospreay. Let that man do all the media at the end of the day. Let that man do all the media.
He always pisses people off, and he's always bigging up his company. Like I fuck with it.
As you should.
Yeah, I fuck with that too. Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is.
I feel like this. All right, let me rephrase here. Mina's loss here still has her being a fan favorite. In order to debut Thekla, if people don't know the history, they'll show you the history on AEW TV. This is an easy in for Thekla on AEW TV for now, being that Mina is done with Tony for the time being. So I can see that also being another avenue for them to go down for the ladies at the end of the day. The ladies have a lot of stuff. They just have to present it in a certain way. So yeah, man.
And on Josh's point about no one thinking Mina was gonna win, because I didn't think she was gonna win neither. But in the matches, they do get you to suspend your disbelief enough to think that she's got a chance of winning. I think they do that in AEW better than any company right now.
Yeah, the last two matches were very predictable winners, but they at least made you kind of suspend your disbelief and get into the actual matchup and the stories they were trying to tell, which is a credit to both of those, to the Speedball and Okada match and to Storm versus Shirakawa.
Yeah, which and that's a good thing, because it makes both performers who lost look better in the situation.
Yeah.
And if fans choose not to not want to see that, then that's on them. But it is what it is. I think it's at a point where we kind of know where certain direction we're going, right? Like if somebody's gonna retain, they're gonna retain. And I think a lot of us are comfortable with that. I think it's a matter of how you make the match itself feel important. Somebody's defending the title, make it matter to the point that it's all right, there's some suspense there.
Yeah, it's for the sake of elevation, because at the end of the day, AEW is still 6 years old. So elevating everyone that's on screen during their matches is still their main goal, and them being able to do that in these pay-per-view matches is a credit to everybody involved. So yeah.
So we went from, the opener, which was very scientific, working over the back, avoiding the person's finisher type catch as catch can, back and forth affair between Jamie Hayter and Mercedes. You had a straight up banger between Okada and Speedball. You had a bloody brawl with Briscoe and Ricochet. You had another like kind of limb work psychology based matchup with Mina and Timeless Tony Storm. And then you want to get batshit crazy? Let's talk about the Anarchy in the Arena. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Marina Shafir of the Death Riders teaming up with the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, to face AEW International Champion Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata of the Opps, and Willow Nightingale. Big time entrance for Swerve Strickland, thematic entrance for Swerve with the mask and everything, the new costume. They also were promoting the answers for Swerve as well. Kenny Omega coming out with his looking like Captain America with the shield as a garbage can lid. Willow Nightingale got the overall, so you know she was about to put in work. But conspicuous by their absence was Samoa Joe during the Opps entrance as Swerve questioned Powerhouse Hobbs and Katsuyori Shibata where he was. Then we get the entrance of the Death Riders. They come through the crowd and they surround the crowd, spreading out from one another. And then we see then we have Justin Roberts pulls out a big scroll and starts reading reads from the Constitution, basically talking because it's Memorial Day. Get it? As the Young Bucks are the founding fathers, and they get the big intro, and they come out dressed like the founding fathers with a brand new entrance and this kind of like American freaking Gettysburg Address style music as well. But the match is on as soon as they come down. Omega and Strickland sprint up the ramp and start fighting them. And then out of nowhere comes Samoa Joe. He attacks Claudio Castagnoli in the crowd, and they fight into the corridor, all while the Gettysburg Address music is playing in the background. We get a four split screen as the music continues to play, as the ladies have paired off with Shafir suplexing Willow Nightingale on the barricade. Kenny Omega gets on the mic and he cuts for that stupid music to end, and he says that he needs something more thematic, and Tony Khan says, "Fuck you, Marks. I still gotta pay these bills for this song that I bought." And he starts playing "I'm So Excited."
Yeah, I loved it.
And I just can't.
Loved it.
Taz turns into Remix Jones as he's getting into it. Omega and Strickland start snapping their little fingers and clapping along with them as they're beating the hell out of everyone in the ring, along with Katsuyori Shibata. They're raining down punches. The Bucks and Yuta are sent outside, and then Omega grabs the mic yet again, and he says that he needs something a little bit more in theme. He says he likes the music, but how about some early 2000s alternative rock music? He meant new metal. And he says, play shit, and drops Drowning Pool, let the bodies hit the floor. I marked the fuck out, ladies and gentlemen. I went crazy. I was like, let's go. This is the vibes I want from this matchup. It is Anarchy in the Arena. Swerve hits a Ospreay flop onto a pile of the heels. Moxley and Hobbs are fighting in the crowd, going crazy. This is absolutely surreal, as you have Kenny Omega with the microphone getting the crowd to sing their hearts out to "Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor." Moxley is stabbing Hobbs in the ring with a fork and then a pen, busting him open. Omega politely asks a fan by the balcony for his seat to jump off of, but Wheeler Yuta cuts him off. They tease a superplex, but Hobbs appeared and chucked Wheeler Yuta off the balcony onto a pile of security. Then Omega uses Hobbs as a launching pad to do his golden triangle moonsault onto the pile of security and the Death Riders. Moxley caught Hobbs coming back into the ring, stabbing him in the head with with a fork once again. Strickland drove Nicholas through a chair with a backbreaker. Moxley then brought a table into the ring as Hobbs then spears Moxley through it. The Bucks continued their brawl with Strickland and Omega as they get the "you can't escape" while Strickland did his corner uppercut and then hit the gritty on him. Then we get Shafir and Nightingale. They brawl to the parking lot where Nightingale chucked bottles at Shafir. This shit felt like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain when you used to play with your friends and brawl over the arena, because they go from Willow and Marina over to Shibata and Yuta spilling out close by as Shibata tossed a garbage can and rolled him repeatedly into the garage door before wrapping barbed wire around his leg and PKing Wheeler's chest. The Bucks dropped Strickland with a double DDT, and then they mocked the gritty, and they did the gritty themselves, not realizing that Omega was behind them and waffled them with the trash can. They all took turns to throwing the trash can at each other before Strickland hit a rolling flatliner on Matthew. Nicholas flew in and hit a destroyer on Swerve, who no-sold it and hit the house call. Strickland leaped off the stage onto Claudio, but Claudio catches him with the uppercut, and then he gives him the giant swing into the speakers after bodies hit the floor. It played like 4 times. He finally crashes the speakers, and it ends that. That was a great way to end the music portion of the matchup. Hobbs then sprints in and pounces Claudio clear into a stack of cases. Matthew leaped off the stage for a dive. Joe is shown down, but there's not a chance we saw what happened there. The music stops playing after about the 4th time, and then we see Nightingale and Shafir, who is now bleeding, spill back down the ramp where Shafir starts hitting judo throws before wrapping a chain around the ring post, and she fucking puts a fucking lock in Willow Nightingale's ear and fucking traps her. I was like, wow, what the fuck is going on? This is an insane visual, to the point that the crowd is chanting, "Please help Willow."
Yeah.
Please help Willow. Back in the ring, Omega went to the Terminator dive, but Nicholas super kicks him and sets him up across the top rope. He delivers the double stomp onto Omega's back, who flies to the floor where Matthew power bombs him through a table at ringside. The Bucks then deliver a running tombstone off the apron, and then Hobbs is brought up to the top of the ramp where Nicholas sprinted off one of the big screens with a swanton. It looked like he hit the back of his head on the ramp. Joe was choked out by one of the Bucks flags by Willa Yuta. Hobbs fights off a 3-on-1 attack initially as the Bucks then signals for the EVP trigger. Then we see Prince Nana is driving a forklift with Swerve on the top of the forklift. He raises the forklift for Swerve to deliver a swerve stomp onto both Matthew and Nicholas. Nana then has a key, and he finally frees Willow to the delight of the fans. Hobbs is dishing out spine busters and droves on the heels. Shafir and Castagnoli try chair shots on Hobbs, who no-sold it and hits a double spine buster with Willow onto both of them. And then we get the big Willow and Hobbs moment where Willow reveals that she's wearing the big black and Jack shirt with Hobbs. That was a great moment that popped the crowd. We get a 4-way rear naked choke as Swerve and Matthew went up top and hit stereo. Swerve and Nicholas hit stereo 450s to break Moxley and Joe's chokes. Nicholas brought out a staple gun and staples Hobbs, who laughs in his face, and Tony Schiavone gives his greatest call of his career. He's like, he's been shot before. You think Staples gonna phase him? I popped at that point. Nicholas staples the side of his head, which pissed Hobbs off. He sent him to Swerve, who had a staple gun of his own, who starts launching off because I saw O'Shea Jackson put up the best tweet. He says, spinach is to Popeye like Staples is to Swerve. It just gives him more energy. He casually starts popping everybody with staples. Yuta gets one. Castagnoli gets one on a pop-up European uppercut attempt. Matthew got another staple gun. He staples Swerve, who fakes like he's selling it, and then staples Matthew right into the balls. Tony Schiavone felt sorry for Dana, Matt's wife. Marina Shafir got a staple gun and actually gets Swerve and actually staples him on the fucking tongue. A Nightingale sprints in. She starts delivering spears to everyone in a big highlight moment for her until Moxley delivers a cutter to her. Love how the women were used in this matchup. There was no just women fighting with women. Women were fighting the men just as much as they were fighting each other. Omega starts hitting snapdragons on everybody until Marina Shafir spits in his face, slaps him across the face, telling him that do it. And he gives a snapdragon to Marina, and the place goes wild. We get the super kick party. They give super kicks to the baby faces. They get super kicks to Prince Nana, to referee Rick Knox. Willow took one as well. The Bucks then wanted the TK driver on Willow, but Swerve launches Nicholas off the top rope through a table. Then Willow reverses the tombstone, so she delivers the TK driver with Swerve for a close near fall. She dropped Matthew right on his fucking head. Joe flattened Moxley with a Uranagi as Claudio was about to go after Joe with a chair. Then Hook in a fucking Kenny from South Park hoodie. It's Claudio with the golf club getting revenge for him taking him out. Joe invites Hook into the ring, but Hook gives him a side eye and then leaves. Moxley was hooked in the Kakina clutch though until Gabe Kidd comes out to make the save for the heels, and it looks like the Death Riders and the Young Bucks were about to get the victory. Omega gets hit with the briefcase and then a power driver by Gabe. The Bucks were about to hit the EVP trigger, but Yuta stops them from doing it on Omega and puts thumbtacks in Omega's mouth before the Bucks hit him with it. You then get Moxley, you get Claudio with the giant swing into the drop kick by Yuta. Moxley then slaps on the bulldog choke until Joe makes the save. The numbers were too much as they all bring Joe out by the ambulance that was here earlier in the stretcher match. But then off the stage, you get a flipping zombie Mark Briscoe covered in blood still. He does a big dive onto the heels. He starts brawling with Gabe Kidd in a follow-up from their angle that they did like 3 months ago on a digital exclusive. Everyone in the match brawls into the ambulance until it's just the Death Riders and Kidd who get trapped in it by the baby faces, leaving the Opps and Willow standing as guards as Joe flips off the Young Bucks who watch this from the ring. They turn around and they realize they are left alone with Omega and Swerve. We get a V-trigger house call combination. Nana then provides Swerve with thumbtack covered Swerve answers as he basically changes those into those from his boots. Almost simultaneously, right before he delivers the final blow, you get Omega who delivers a one-wing angel off the stage into a table on Matthew, and the shit explodes. Oh my god. I was wondering this whole time. I was like, why they not using this table by the stage? And that's why. Then Swerve delivers a Swerve stomp with the thumbtack covered answers. 1, 2, 3 on Nicholas. Oh my god. I was wondering if they were ever gonna come close to the first Anarchy in the Arena. This shit did. This was absolutely batshit insane, sometimes ridiculous, but overall amazing. This was a fantastic matchup in every way possible. Non-stop action for almost 40 minutes. Everyone got spotlighted. Everyone got highlighted. All the baby faces come out looking like gangbusters out of this. Swerve looks into the camera and sticks out his tongue to show the staple from earlier, which was wild. Post-match, Team Swerve stands tall in the ring, all four corners, as just the sight of Mark Briscoe alone, still wildly bloody from earlier that night, is a sight to see. But all the babyfaces are on the stage celebrating the victory here. This was Anarchy in the Arena, and I loved every moment of it. 5 stars. I'm sorry. Like going through it again, I gotta give it 5 stars. This is unlike anything you will see this year. Kris, you were at the first Anarchy in the Arena.
Yeah.
What did you think about this?
Things. This is the best one I've seen. I was at the first one with my wife where they tried to what's his name? Moxley tried to steal my mobility scooter because I was using a mobility scooter that week. Tried to steal it. I wish my wife would have left the key in it. It's just this, so I could get some kind of money from TK or whatever. But I digress. It's what I love about this match is that it's AEW's signature match, right? And I think that it's important for a company to have a signature match, WWE's, I think their most signature match is probably the Royal Rumble, and all these other companies try to mimic it, but it's never the Royal Rumble. And I think with this Anarchy and the arena match, you will get companies trying to duplicate it, but it just won't be Anarchy in the arena. This match is, if I was introducing somebody new to wrestling, like my friends from last night, this would be the match because it's very, very serious, but it's also very, very playful at the same time. I love Tony Schiavone's line when after that whole absolutely ridiculous entrance from the Bucks, TK is just like, they're like, whatever, not Tony Schiavone, whatever he said, it was just hilarious. It was what I was thinking. It was what you were thinking at home when you're like, what is this stupid fucking shit? And Tony Khan says, this is the stupidest shit ever or something. Tony Schiavone, man.
He said it was the biggest bullshit he's ever heard.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, thank you for that, Josh. Yeah, I forget. That's what he said, and it fit so well. I love the music at the beginning where they were that stupid shit, and then it goes into the Pointer Sisters, and I've never seen like fans so grateful to hear the Pointer Sisters. If I'm gonna pick a Pointer Sisters song, mine is the Neutron Dance, but I digress. And then they go to the Drowning Pool Body song. As a youth going to the University of Tennessee in 2000, I did not like that song, and because it just reminded me of all the white boy angst I was around during the time, just that shit. But it's a popular song and it fit the moment, and the fans got into it. I was hoping to hear like Party Up by DMX or something like that, some hip hop, but this was perfectly fine. I do think after like the fifth repeat of this, they could have switched it up a little bit, but it was still great. I have to give this 5 stars because everything that I think is wrong with this match is a nitpick. My only other couple nitpicks is I do think Anarchy in the arena always has to be the last match. I just even as great as the main event was, I think it's a very big risk to expect the fans to be up for anything that's following some shit like that. But I think the follow-ups after this match was good, and I can't say enough about this match. And that's like I said, if you are and I do think in a year or two they can do this match on TV. It won't be this one, but it'll show this needs to be on the big stage. I just loved it, man. I can't say enough things about it. And I need to shut up and let everyone else talk about it because this was great. I loved it.
J News.
Oh man, I didn't necessarily know where they were going to go with this match, right? I just knew Anarchy in the arena. It'll spill all over the arena and things of that nature. When they were playing the music where the Bucks came out to, the traditionalist founding fathers music there, I said to myself, I hope they don't play this all match long. That would have killed the entire mood. When they when Kenny cut to "I'm so excited," I said to myself, "Okay, he needs to burn the money out on this one. Makes sense to me, or whatever." But yeah, like everybody said in the chat, like Professor Kris said, like once bodies hit on the audio system, I said to myself, "Oh, this is Tony's homage to ECW wrestling at the end of the day, right?"
Yeah.
So, you know, because you're not going to get natural born killers because this ain't one of those things, you know what I'm saying? So, so
New Jack no longer with us, you know?
So it's like, you know, when we got bodies, and that crowd popped for when bodies hit the freaking PA system. I was like, yeah, like this crowd was in it from the jump. Like they got there early and they stayed. And it was like, yo, this was insane. Shout out to Willow Nightingale, man. Yeah, that woman can do no wrong in my eyes. No wrong at the end of the day. Shout out to Marina Shafir because she out here taking bottles to the dome.
Yo, Marina, this was a star making. This is the best I've ever seen Marina Shafir.
I will look, man, and I get it. She's still somewhat green in the ring, but like what they've been able to do with her character-wise. From a persona standpoint, like the energy she gives off, it's perfect, dude. Perfect. And the violence she brings with her judo background and her striking ability, dude, makes up for it. Special shout out to Wheeler Yuta, man. All the shit that Wheeler Yuta gets, and he puts his body on the line more than any other wrestler I've ever seen in that Death Riders team, dude. Like, it's insane. Man, yo, Swerve Strickland's just transcendent, isn't he? Like, I don't know where to put him now. Taking staples to the tongue, jumping off of forklifts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he got a sneaker deal for some answers, and you know those sneakers is gonna sell.
Yeah, I'm
I was like, this was great product placement. Great.
Oh my god, it was. This match was insane. It was Anarchy at its best. I love the Joe bit where Joe came out later than everybody else and just started in the crowd and whatnot.
Joe's added so, like we said on the preview, Joe's added so much to this Death Rider.
Yeah,
it's not being talked about enough how much legitimacy and credibility he's provided the Death Rider story in general.
Absolutely. I agree, and I also want to talk about Powerhouse Hobbs. The spots they gave him in this match were just fantastic as well. Good showcase for him.
Yeah, man. Hobbs, like, they have so many different established characters on TV now that they can do different things with. And not every, like I was saying before, when we were talking about Ricochet, not everybody has to be in a title picture, right? But people are now solidified characters on AEW TV. And it's like, I'm just wondering what's gonna happen with them next. And things of that nature. The hook spot was short, but it also draws intrigue storyline wise because it's like now he's got beef with the Opps because it's like they left him on the wayside.
They replaced him basically.
Yeah, they replaced him. So that's a story. That's a story for the future to be told as well. So AEW's got that part of their storytelling at least online with them. And I was worried about Shibata in this match. I was, man. I was worried about Shibata in this match. but he took like a fish to water, man. And then, man, listen, man, the wrestler. That's all I can say about that, man. The wrestler. And Mark Briscoe, man. Mark Briscoe coming in to make a save, closing that loop, like I said, with Gabe Kidd. Mind you, they're still gonna probably have a one-on-one match at the end of the day. So looking forward to that whenever that happens and stuff. But everybody did tremendous work in this, man. Look, man, for all this shit the Bucks get, you have to give them this.
They're in rare form right now. They're in rare form right now.
They're in, first of all, they're in the best shape they have been ever in their careers, physically speaking. And character-wise, they're Weasley dipshit heels who do things that are funny and irritating and antagonizing. It works.
Yeah, because Jay News, I think the payoff to that interest was at Tony Schiavone live.
There you go.
I thought it was absolutely fucking stupid. And when Tony Schiavone said that, I was like, okay, I get it now. I see the rub, yo.
Absolutely, because when folks, if folks don't know or aren't aware, our lead into AEW was BTE, right?
Mhm.
And BTE was all about meta critique on pro wrestling, and they did that inside the match at the end of the day. So I was like, all right, man, enough. I was like, I love this, man. Probably the best Anarchy in the Arena match. This is one that's gonna stick with me. The other ones were fun when I was watching them. I think the moment that always sticks out the most to me was that pool moment with Matt Hardy and
well, that was the Stadium Stampede, but yeah, they're cousins. They're basically cousins. Yeah.
This is because they can't do the Stadium Stampede anymore, so this is their replacement for it.
This is their replacement, basically, yeah. So, but yeah, man, I love this match. This match was so fun. But a point I wanted to make, because Professor Kris did say this earlier, I agree with Professor Kris in the sense of like this match to go on last because it takes so much out of the crowd.
It
does.
Does.
That's really more.
Whoever follows it is gonna struggle. Is gonna struggle.
Which is why that's the main reason why I felt like the ladies match shouldn't have gone first, because I felt like it should have been semi-main. That's just me in my own head. That 6-man match wasn't going to be able to recover, and that match was good.
It was, yeah.
But I think this is why I kind of like, we had our little debate earlier. Any match is going to struggle after this.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to put the women in that position. So any match is going to struggle. And this was the match that had the least amount of build. So it was the right match to put in the cooldown spot.
I feel like this match could have gone semi-main because of the way that the main event was structured, because it had that build.
I think you, pacing wise, you need to have a buffer between this and the main event. I don't. You have to bring them down and let them regain their energy to pick them back up for the main event.
That's why I said, because the way the main event was structured, because they started off, it was a slow build. You allow the crowd to simmer down until they crescendo through the rest of the match and stuff like that. I thought about it that way, but hey, look. The show was fantastic at the end of the day. This match, it was a fucking banger. Let the bodies hit the floor at the end of the day. So that's what it was about, man.
Josh, what did you think about Anarchy in the Arena?
Real quick, I just wanted to add to the last part. I think, when it comes to the women opening, again, I think it was a good spot for them, because I think when it comes to the women's division or the women in general, and we're talking about any company, talking about WWE, AEW, any women's division, they kind of already have like a harder ladder to climb. Right? So you always want to put them in a good spot where you could showcase them. I think last night, if you put the opener right after this match, it definitely would have it would have hurt them more because of the perception. Because even when we had Britt versus Mercedes, the perception was bad because not only the spot was in, but it wasn't a great match. So I think
that had to follow Will and MJF. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So I think in regards to that, I think it was I thought for what the women did, being in the spot that they did really helped them. Just wanted to add to that. But besides that, I mean, the match was insane. I think it was the best Anarchy in the Arena match I've seen to date. Just because everything, right? We expect a clusterfuck. We expect a car crash. So we're not getting like a ring general 5-star kind of match. We're getting chaos. We're getting fucking batshit crazy shit. That's what we're getting in the match. And I thought they did that very well when it comes to not only the pacing, but like the bullshit, right? Like when the Bucks came out, right? People were really annoyed because like they're fucking wearing like suits. I think I even called them. I think I called them Rite Aid Hamilton when they came out. So I mean, it was great, like because it fits their asshole, gimmicks. Like they're fucking assholes. They're fucking pricks. So it fits that. And then the music started playing. I was like, oh fuck, they're using this song to like play. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be rough. And then they switched it to the Pointed Sisters, which I thought it was hilarious because it kind of, in a weird way, I felt like it kind of like fit that at that time.
Yeah, I do
where
too.
they started playing, and like it kind of like the energy did boost up, but then once Kenny was like, all right, let's, and then when they changed it to fucking Johnny Pool, that brought it to another level. And I think that's where not only the match got better, but like it got the crowd excited. They started doing the crazy shit, like that fucking spot where Omega and got on top of the barrier, like the top. And I was like scared for Omega. I was like, oh no, like there was a few times I was like, oh shit, please, don't do this. Especially when he got to the superplex, he was about to do that. I was like, please don't do that. And then fucking Will Hobbs just came. Fucking he threw Yuta, and then Omega still did the backflip. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yo. So like, there's so much to talk about when it comes to this because there's so much that happened. But I felt like it did everybody, like it hit the marks for everybody, and that's what I liked about the match too. You know, in regards to the women, I thought the women, you know, they showed out the best way possible. You know, they did everything that you know, we kind of didn't expect them to be like because obviously when it comes to intergender matches and stuff like that, the men usually don't hit the women, but then we end up getting that toward the end of the match, and I thought that was fine. I thought that was fitting for what we got when it comes to that. Like everything worked in that regard. And then, you know, when it comes like towards the ending, you know, Gabe Kidd came out. I know a lot of people were expecting Eddie Kingston. I know a lot of people were kind of like waiting for that because I think once Gabe Kidd came out, the crowd did get kind of quiet because they were kind of waiting for something. You know, but I thought Mark Briscoe was a nice fit. I thought like the ambulance spot made sense because
he should have
the door
came
was
out
open.
The ambulance though.
Yeah. I would love
shut up.
that.
Yeah. He should have, but I do like the fact that the doors were left open, so you kind of like it doesn't make you think. But then all of a sudden he came out from the ramp, and then it was like, oh, then it makes sense. Like, oh shit, he's out of the ambulance, and then the fact that they used the ambulance to lock the Fridays in it, I thought it was gold. Because it just left the Young Bucks, it just left them in the ring. So like it was great. You know, the only spot I got concerned about was I want to say Nick Jackson.
Yeah, that was concerning. Yeah.
But I think he ended up being fine. He usually takes those big risks. But you know, obviously when it comes to head injuries is always concerning. But it was good to see that for the most part he seemed like he was okay. And I like the fact that the ref and Matt did check on him right away. You know, usually those things, you know, those at least there's like a lot of self-awareness when it comes to stuff like that. But besides that, I mean, the fucking match was insane. It was everything I was hoping for. And then, you know, when it comes to like these kind of matches too, like Swerve, like we know what he could do in the ring, but I think this just like, I don't know, it does something to Swerve. It brings him to another level. Like
it does.
Every single time he finds a way to do something like innovating or like it elevates him. And the fact that he jumped off that forklift, like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. That you know, and then the way that he won the match too, I thought it was great because it was pretty fitting.
Yeah, I think that also to kind of counterpoint what Kris was saying about Anarchy in the Arena main eventing. Yeah, it's hard to follow it, but I would argue the two Anarchy in the Arenas that didn't main event are the best two. The first one in 2022 and this one.
Yeah,
so there's a point to that as well.
Was the 2022 one the one I went to? I'm not sure.
With the Puerto Rican Blackpool Combat Club versus,
right. Okay,
versus the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Okay, yeah. I so just being there live, I was exhausted after that Anarchy in the Arena match. I'm starting to remember it now. And I think me, Ed, John, y'all's boy, we Ed, his woman, and my woman caught COVID that weekend too. So
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So that was probably why I was getting tired after that match. I remember.
Also makes sense. Genesis J. Jimmy hates Swerve because he thinks he's a coon. To keep it short, a long story short,
I'm gonna keep all that stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? That's personal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's just name calling at the end of the day. All I want to say is that Josh made a point about how the crowd quieted down once Gabe Kidd came out. And before Mark Briscoe made his appearance, there were people in the crowd chanting Eddie.
I heard that too.
And I said to myself, and they did it on purpose during the weekend, where Eddie came out and said he wasn't ready at the end of the day. And I figured he wasn't going to be, to be quite honest. His injury was a little bit more severe than people think it was. So there's that part of it. And we all know Eddie deals with his demons and things of that nature. So, there's a lot more mental than it is physical with Eddie. So just give him some time. He'll be back at the end of the day. But the match was insane, man. And they should have like Professor Kris said, this is one of those AEW staple matches, along with like the Casino Gauntlet match and whatnot. That's another AEW staple match and things of that nature. So once a year, maybe once every 2 years, I wouldn't mind at the end of the day.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they took a year off. But I'm not gonna. I think Tony loves it, and since this was a success, he'll continue to do it every Double or Nothing. But
can I say one thing? But I do want to shout out Kenny Omega for not burying the Pointer Sisters when he introduced the Drowning Pool song, because I've seen WWE do this shit in the past. Like they had Cyndi Lauper on, I want to say it's circa 2013, 14, something like that. And Michael Cole is just fucking burying this woman on commentary. And it's like, if you pay, like, I thought that was so disrespectful. So I do appreciate Kenny Omega for not burying the Pointer Sisters. I just wanted to get that out there.
I also got to give credit Kenny Omega because he's very unselfish. He very much was trying to put over, like, if it was like the Bucks he was going against, it was Claudio taking the giant swing, and he really wanted this to be Swerve gets the win in the end, because they could have easily had Omega be the one who got the win in the end, but Swerve was the one who had the storyline reason to want revenge on the Young Bucks, so it was appropriate that he gave the spotlight to Swerve here. So
and like you said, it was new metal, not alternative.
Hey man, it was the
Only
2000s. It was alternative in the 2000s. This new labeling of shit is ridiculous to me at the end of the day. But I will say
it was not alternative. It wasn't alternative then. What are you talking about?
Pearl Jam and shit like that. Like
they looked it all in with like Limp Bizkit shit and Korn shit. It's all the same shit to me at the end of the day.
That is new metal. That is new metal.
I want to say this though. I do want to say this though. They gave me my Willow spot. Willow speared the crap out of everybody in the ring. That's all I wanted out of this match, and they gave it to me.
Willow comes out of this looking like a star, looking like an absolute star, as she should. Marina looks great coming out of this. Moxley did not lose in the end. He's still the AEW World Champion, but I think the people that needed to be highlighted and spotlighted got that in this matchup. So it's a net positive for everyone involved.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately, it's not a net positive for our next matchup, which is the Paragon TNT champion Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, and Josh Alexander, with Don Callis and Lance Archer in their corner. Cole and Takeshita kick things off, having an equal filling out process. O'Reilly and Alexander tagged in, and I love them going at each other. There was just like some submission work, some technical wrestling, which I love. Alexander rushed Strong into his corner as Fletcher tagged in, quickly found himself lit up by the Paragon kicks and fast tags. Strong was blindsided and picked apart for a bit by the Don Callis family. He was sent outside by Takeshita and swarmed by Fletcher and Alexander as Callis directed traffic, getting in some cheap shots and selling his foot like crazy, thus having Taz hope that he was seriously injured. Strong tried to sprint into his corner, but nearly got planted with a Blue Thunder bomb by Takeshita. He broke free into a nice backbreaker, but was cut off by Alexander. Cole made it hot tag, and he started running wild for a bit. He had a big tussle on the outside, which had Strong giving a crazy looking back suplex onto the barricade on Josh Alexander. I love the finish of this matchup, which saw this left O'Reilly in the ring with Fletcher, but then Takeshita comes in. He pops him with the world-class forearm, and then Fletcher basically comes out of a guillotine and reverses it into a vertical drop brainbuster, landing Kyle O'Reilly straight on his head. 1, 2, 3. The Don Callis family picks up the victory here. Post-match, you celebrate, and then Archer and RPG Vice come out. They attack the Paragon, and they were standing tall until the music of Brody King hits. He comes out with none other than Tomohiro Ishii. They wait on the ramp because they are joined by New Japan Pro Wrestling president, the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi joins the party. They take out RPG Vice and Archer on the outside. They attack Fletcher, Takeshita, and Alexander in the ring. We get holy chit chants for Tanahashi making a surprise appearance. Fletcher is the last man standing. He takes a sling blade from Tanahashi, and then Cole lowers the boom as the babyfaces stand tall here. Nice little appearance by Tanahashi at the end here, and the match was good for a come-down match. The crowd actually got into it towards late when everybody started firing off big moves, so it was pretty decent. I give it 3.25 stars. Josh, what did you think about Paragon and the Callis family?
I thought it was a good match. Any match you put on that spot was going to be difficult. And, when the match was going on in Arena, I was like, oh, damn. And then we still have Hangman and Ospreay. And then when you told me about this match, I said, yeah, I forgot about this match. Admittedly. But, but I mean, for what they did, it was a good matchup. We all have, they're all good performers at the end of the day in the ring. So you can't really go wrong with that. And I thought the right team did win. And then we had some nice pride. After the match, post match, we had Ishii, and then we had Ace. It was cool seeing Ace because I didn't expect this. It was cool seeing him. So I mean. For a cool down match, it was actually really good.
What about you, Kris?
Yeah, I did like this match a lot. Like the people I was with, I think they started playing dominoes or shit. Like what's the last match ended? But I stuck around through the whole pay-per-view because I was reviewing this and I liked it. I do hate. And this is not a knock on Tony Khan or anything like that. This is just how deep the roster is at the moment. I don't like Adam Cole being in a bathroom break match, but I mean, it just is what it is. I'm hoping soon he starts climbing up the ranks eventually. But the match I go a little higher than you. I give it 3.5 stars because I do appreciate the work that they did in this match, and they could have phoned it in. They could have been like, okay, these fans don't give a fuck, so let's just go out here and kind of wrestle. But they put their all in it, man, and it was a very great and noble effort. And the right people won, and and I liked seeing Tanahashi. It was great stuff, man. So yeah, I give it 3.5.
J News.
Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, I thought this was a really good match. The main thing, and I feel I'm probably not the only one who thought this, but while watching the match, all I can think about is give me a one-on-one match between Josh Alexander and Roderick Strong. I want to see that.
I said Josh and Kyle. I like them going at it.
Give me that match, man, because I'm a big fan of Roddy at the end of the day, and Josh is great. But I thought they delivered the goods here. I just felt bad from the outset of the match, and I was like, how are you supposed to follow this up? Are you supposed to get the crowd back in? Are they going to be able to get into the match? By the end of the match, the fans were into it. and whatnot. So it was cool to see that. But man, I did not feel good for those guys after the Anarchy in the arena. And I think that we're really boiling down towards Kyle Fletcher taking that TNT Championship off of Adam Cole. I think that's where we're heading. And we'll see as to what happens to all the other pieces involved in this match, as to what they'll be involved in. But yeah, man, solid match, good match. Everybody did what they were supposed to do, man. I thought Adam Cole was hurt for whatever reason because they hadn't had him wrestling for quite a while. But great to see him back in the ring. And yeah, it served its purpose at the end of the day. It did serve its purpose.
They were probably trying to get us to forget about that shit with him and MJF while they had him off TV.
Yeah, well, he's been on TV mostly, but he's just been doing commentary. I was just glad to see him back into the ring.
Right, ring stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Adam Cole was in a situation where, he's dealt with a lot of injuries since he got with AEW. So it's one of those things where, I don't know what Tony Khan's mindset is. It could be one of those things where, sometimes when we've seen it with Cole, like, he'll get like this little push, probably getting there, and then fortunately an injury happens. So I think it's one of those things where they're probably trying to be careful with. That's just my assumption, but I do agree that he probably should be still doing more.
We get excellent. Oh, we get the announcement that in 2 weeks' time on AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest, their first of 2 4-hour blocks where they'll have Dynamite and then Collision back-to-back on Wednesday. On June 4th, Fighter Fest will see Kenny Omega make his next defense of the AEW International Championship in a 4-way matchup, including people from all over the world, as they will be qualifying matches for this 4-way match, starting out with this Wednesday's Dynamite. It will be Brody King of Hounds of Hell going one-on-one with the Don Callis families, Josh Alexander. And then on Saturday's AEW Collision, it will be Mascarada Dorada versus Hechicero, both members of the CMLL roster. And on the other side, you got Claudio Castagnoli versus Commander. So you got Mexico, Switzerland, Canada, and the United States all being represented in the qualifying matches. So it should be interesting what goes down there. And this feels like a big match to have for that 4-hour block, and they're going to need it if people are going to stick around too. So yeah. All right, but then it was time for the main event. Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page in the finals of the AEW Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Great video package before everything, kind of going through all the promos and the lead up to this matchup. Then you get a big intro video package for Hangman Adam Page. Page was shown with a shot zoomed in on his eyes, saying, "I need this," before he power walked out with new pink and black gear, a fitting tribute to Owen Hart, giving one last glance at the trophy he came so close to winning last year. Then we get a piano version of Ospreay's music plays as we hear audio of the promo that he cut on last week's Dynamite, talking about this isn't about Page's redemption, it's about his ascension. Then we get a big reaction for both men during the intros and their entrances. This had the big fight feel that you needed for this matchup, and it felt like basically a fight for the future of AEW. Who was going to be the man to be the hero in the end and save the AEW World Championship from the death grip of Jon Moxley and the Death Riders? Early on in this one, you get a filling out process between the two men. Ospreay kicked up out of a shoulder tackle, and Page pulled him down to the corner by his hair. Realizing that it was somewhat heelish, he pulled back. Page avoided a monkey flip and catches a springing Ospreay and tried a German suplex. Ospreay landed on his feet and dodged a buckshot, swung wildly for the hidden blade, but Page was able to duck that for our first stalemate of the matchup. Then we get a snap Hurricane Rana by Ospreay, who followed up with a standing sky twisting press for a 1 count. After corner chops delivered from Ospreay, Paige basically came back with a wild forearm. Then Ospreay sold it like he was going limp with his arms. Taz put over Paige's strike, saying that he's the more hard-hitting of the two, saying back in the pandemic days, they scouted him for Team Taz, which was a nice little reference for those who's been watching for a long time. Ospreay fought back. He is pip cheerio, landing sending Paige to the outside. He tried for a slingshot dive, but got caught as Paige hits a fallaway slam onto the LED barricade. Back inside, Paige launched Ospreay into the middle turnbuckle and gave a long stare out to the crowd. Ospreay attempted a counter into a stun dog millionaire, but Paige was able to deliver a snap back suplex and kept Ospreay grounded. Paige ramped up the kicks at Ospreay's request and sort of woke him up. Then we get a forearm battle ensued until Ospreay switched to some chops. So Paige waffled him with another forearm. Stun dog millionaire led to a corkscrew kick, sending Paige to the outside, where Ospreay followed with a Sasuke special. I love Hangman Adam Page. He didn't just go ahead and try to catch him. It looked like he was trying to go into the ring to avoid it, but he basically was right in position for Ospreay on the Sasuke special. Then we get a torture rack applied by Ospreay, who swung out into a blue thunder bomb for a near fall. Paige was low bridge as Ospreay teased the dive, but was shoved off, and Paige hits a springboard lariat, followed by the Orihara moonsault. Back inside, powerbomb and a high stack got Paige a 2 count, and then he applied the sharpshooter. Ospreay was able to make it to the ropes, and then he threw some chops, but Paige no-sold it and hits a Saito suplex. Big boot by Paige, and he went for another, allowing Ospreay to connect with a wall rock enziguri. Ospreay wanted the Os cutter, but Paige clotheslined him to the back in midair. Hook kick by Ospreay, though, as he didn't go down, but Paige waffled him again with a big lariat. Paige charged at Ospreay, and he hits a standing Spanish fly as the crowd went wild for a bit. Ospreay woke himself up, but the delayed allowed Paige to crotch him in the corner, and then Ospreay slid out and trapped Paige in the cheeky Nando's kick and went up to the ropes, but Paige headbutted himself free and hits a variation of the buckshot lariat, the same one that he hit on Kyle Fletcher to beat him. He went for a proper buckshot lariat, but Ospreay catches him with the hook kick and then hits a shooting star press for a 2. Paige cut off a corner charge and did a moonsault out of the corner into a tombstone for a 2 count. Ospreay tried for the Styles Clash, but Paige floated over and hits the Angel's Wings, a callback to his mentor and the man that he took out of AEW and retired, Christopher Daniels. Excalibur questions if that was just instinct or an homage to Danielson, so a nice callback to their storyline earlier this year. Paige then tries to go for the best moonsault ever, but he basically messes it up and then misses the moonsault. Ospreay throws a wild-looking hidden blade, taking Paige down for a bit there. They fight to the apron where both start trading forearms, but Ospreay blocked a big boot into a powerbomb right onto the apron. He then followed up with a wild-looking Styles Clash that looks so dangerous off the apron to the floor. The replay showed that Paige landed nearly head first. Ospreay's leg was trapped under him as well, so he looked like he almost got hurt as well. Paige was able to get back before the count of 10, but then Ospreay meets him with the Os cutter for a 2 count. Ospreay then hit a hidden blade flush, but again, Paige was able to kick out at 2. Taz managed to talked about that Paige has a hard jaw, so it's going to be hard to knock him out. Ospreay lit up Paige with strikes and had to be pulled back by Bryce as he was basically getting a little bit too aggressive. Paige teased a buckshot lariat but was booted to the Spanish announce table where Ospreay looked like he was going to drive him through with the Tiger Driver 91, but Paige was able to fight off. He goes for the dead eye, and they basically had a Triple H Kurt Angle moment from SummerSlam 2000 where the table just collapsed under him. So it was a scary spot where Ospreay looked like he almost dropped on his head, but Paige just picks him up, says screw it, and gives him a dead eye on the remnants of the table. Osprey, then you get Paige puts him back into the ring. He slowly rises and looks for the buckshot lariat, but Osprey's on the opposite end. He stumbles to the opposite end of the ring, but then Osprey gets his composure. He lowers his elbow pad. Paige then takes off his elbow pad, and we basically get the shootout that Osprey promised on Dynamite last week. They both go for their big guns, buckshot lariat and hidden blade, but Paige is able to hit it, turning Osprey inside out and gets the closest near fall of the match so far. Paige wanted another buckshot lariat, but this time Osprey takes his head off with the hidden blade. He then picks him up and quickly goes for the Stormbreaker. He hits it, but Paige kicks out at 2.99. Osprey goes for another hidden blade, but Paige collapses as Osprey misses wildly. In a great bit of camera work, you see that Osprey is now measuring Paige. He sets him up for the V trigger, a callback to both Paige's and Osprey's rival Kenny Omega. He hits the V trigger to the back of the head. He then goes for the One Ring Angel, but Paige counters and hits Swerve Strickland's big pressure, his arch nemesis, showing that he's putting the rivalry behind to win this one. But Osprey barely gets his toe on the rope to break the cover. They're cooking at this point. This is on another level. We get Paige wanted the buckshot lariat, but Osprey is able to float over. He goes for the Stormbreaker. It goes for the Stormbreaker, but Paige is able to flip out of it. He hits a discus lariat, turning Osprey inside out. He then runs to the apron. He hits a proper buckshot lariat, turning Osprey inside out again. 1, 2, 3. Hangman Adam Page with one of the bigger upsets, bigger surprise wins in a main event that we've seen in recent memory in AEW, and an absolute instant classic. This was an epic encounter, everything that it was hyped up to be, plus that much more. The storytelling, the in-ring work, this was on a whole nother level. Otherworldly stuff from both men, proving that they are two of the best in the world. But the best on the night was Hangman Adam Page, the winner of the 2025 Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament. He is going on to All In Texas to first Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. The crowd was on fire. Bravo to the crowd, because they got their second win after the Anarchy in the Arena. This built nicely. It was 37 minutes long, but it never felt like that. It never felt. Every minute was maximized to the biggest potential possible, and they bit on all the near falls. They did not know who was going to win either way, and this delivers so good. And then the post match was just as good as Hangman Adam Page gets the title. The confetti rolls out. The pyro goes off. He goes to the top of the ramp. He sees the Owen Hart Cup, but he sees a now dejected Will Ospreay in the ring, upset because he believed this was his moment. This was his chance for the biggest win to get to make his ascension to the AEW World Championship. But Hangman, looking like a callback to the all-out matchup with Swerve Strickland, where he looked like he was going to go back to the ring to finish him, but instead he goes back to help Will Ospreay to his feet. He extends his hand and they shake hands in a show of respect. Ospreay tells Hangman to go do it. You need to go win that title. They show respect to one another. Taz brought up, even in defeat, you build a whole new level of respect for your opponent. Excalibur says that it's back to the drawing board for Ospreay to find his way to the AEW World Championship. And the show closed with Paige holding up the Owen Hart title and being next to the cup as before he collapses to his knees, basically exhausted physically, mentally, and emotionally. But it is on. AEW World Championship up for grabs. Hangman Adam Page will challenge Jon Moxley Saturday, July 12th in Arlington, Texas, All In Texas 2025. What can I say about this matchup? This was the best AEW pay-per-view main event since Swerve and Bryan. That's the biggest compliment I could give it. It's an all-timer. It's one of the best AEW main events that you will ever see. One of the best AEW matches you will ever see. And right now, Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd, you know, Jay knows, that's been my match of the year since January 5th. Now it has to move over. We got a new match of the year. We got a new match of the year front runner. 5+ stars. Only the second match I've given 5+ stars to this year. This was absolutely incredible in every way possible. Sensational in-ring work, superb storytelling, the selling from Ospreay. This was some of the best selling that you've seen from Ospreay, and the little details that Hangman Paige always gets right. Will Ospreay was on the money here, just leaning heel at certain points, like when he goes off with the strikes and goes to the table and stuff like that. Even the botch with the table doesn't take away anything from this matchup at all. It had so many key moments that you're going to remember from it. This is a match of the year in every way possible. Jay News, what did you think about Hangman versus Ospreay?
Oh man, what did I think? My initial thought of this before the match even started, when we did the preview on Friday, I said to myself, they're going to deliver a 5-star plus match. I have no doubts about that because of the men who were involved in it. They didn't let me down. They exceeded expectations. For people who do not have Will Ospreay in their top 5 of best all-around professional wrestlers currently wrestling right now, you're not watching. You're just not watching. I can give all praise due to guys like Takeshita and things of that nature because they're great. But what we get from Will Ospreay from one match to the next can't be understated. He doesn't give you anything less than greatness. And that is something that AEW should damn well appreciate. Will Ospreay will get his time in the sun, folks. Guaranteed. Because if he doesn't, the fan base is going to riot. But he's going to get his time in the sun. At the end of the day, it is the Hanger's time right now. Because the story has been built for Hanger to be the man again at the right time, in the right place, taking it away from this champion we currently have at the end of the day. But the match was tremendous. It felt like a Tokyo Dome match, dude. It felt like a Tokyo Dome match. The way it was structured, how long it went, the ups, the downs, the near falls, the slow build, the crescendo, the peak, the climax, the freaking the false finishes and everything, man. Amazing. And for folks who don't like Hangman Paige as a wrestler, I don't know what to tell you, because that dude not only delivers as a character, as the main character, as the protagonist of AEW, he delivers as an in-ring competitor as well. Like, there's just no let up between those two guys, man. And the company's in good hands with those two gentlemen as the top baby faces of the company going into the future. But this match right here, man, I thought it was, I usually don't go into many things with expectations. I expected greatness. I got greatness. I wasn't disappointed. We got one of the best pay-per-views of 2025, if not the best pay-per-view of 2025. And man. All In's gonna be all this shapes everything up for All In. And I'm not worrying about Will and what he's gonna be doing in the future. He's gonna make it great regardless. So I ain't worried. Hangman better take that belt off of Mox, because if not, then we're gonna have serious problem.
Yo, this would be an all-time fumble if he don't win this championship at All In. Josh, what did you think about the main event?
It was incredible. One of the best matches I've ever seen. To be honest with you, just because of not only the storytelling aspect of it, but the build up, how everything led up to what we got last night. I mean, there's not enough good things you could say about what we saw. It's great to see Hangman being that guy again. And I think a lot of people have been waiting for that for a long time, right? We've been kind of waiting for Hangman to be the top star once again, and this is his way of being that guy once again. Just everything that they did, and especially that final sequence. That was like one of the best final sequences I've ever seen. Like that alone was just like insane. But it's crazy just because, like, you know, with Hangman, I remember back in, I think 2017 when I went to one of the Ring of Honor shows, and I remember, like, you know, Hangman was always like one of those members for Bullet Club where he was just a guy, he was just a body that was just there. But then I've always heard people were like, hey, like, you know, he's a dark horse, so that if you give him a chance, he might do some things. And then we kind of saw that with him. We kind of saw he had charisma, he had like a character. But now from seeing that guy then to what we're getting now, it's pretty insane to see like the work they put in. Like when you put in the work, to see the results of that, that's pretty insane. And he's been kind of like, I want to say the same character, the same guy, but he hasn't had to change himself that much to, like, you know, to be somebody in the wrestling business. You know, there's guys who completely revamp what they do. He hasn't really done that in a sense of like switching characters completely, being somebody different. We're just kind of seeing the guy who's, you know, he went batshit insane when he turned heel against Swerve when the double turn happened. And then now we're kind of seeing that Hangman we all loved, but in a more ruthless kind of like angry sense of like he knows he has to do this, like he has to win now. So it's been fun to see. Like it's been really fun to see. But the match itself, I mean, again, like we got what we got. Like there was no, you know, there was no room for error in my opinion. That was like, all right, I think this is gonna be a great matchup because we all know what Will could do. I think Will, you know, he's gonna be that guy someday. You know, if he's not already, he's one of the top guys. But you know, for him to be the guy, it's gonna happen. He still has time. He's you know, he's already great. You know, and if that happens next year, I think they could do some things from now to then that you could keep him busy. You could keep him having these kind of matches. I think will be fine. But overall, fun matchup, fun main event. You know, I had Will winning, but I'm not mad that Hangman won, that he won. Yeah. And I do, you know, I want to say that it's the right move, but it's the move that I think perception wise, you're kind of seeing people being excited about AEW again.
Yeah.
Kris?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. Like this match was not Triple H versus Chris Jericho. It was more like Daniel Bryan versus Triple H versus Batista that year, because they had a hard act to follow too, with Undertaker losing. That crowd was spent after that, and then Daniel Bryan and those three brought him back. And I thought this match did the same thing. It was like, I understand the people that love Ospreay. I really, really do. I think Hangman is the best person for this moment. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of people after Swerve lost the pay-per-view last month, I especially in the wrestling journalist space, a lot of the sentiment was, okay, you are kind of displacing Swerve for the new toy, which is Ospreay. And I can see how, optically speaking, people would think that's a little disrespectful. Hangman doesn't bring that same baggage, you know. And I think he's a good buffer between Mox for that, you know. He's like, he could and Ospreay could get his W either later this year or next year. There's no rush with Ospreay, man, because a guy like Sid said, he's putting on banger after banger after banger. These matches are great. The 8,000 people in Glendale, Arizona, not Phoenix, Arizona, Glendale, Arizona, they brought this match to life. They were a very, very good crowd. My prediction for AEW in 2026 is that they're going to go back to booking the bigger arenas because they're going to get fans interested in the natural way. And the answer for AEW was never Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. It's the answer for AEW is the approach that they have taken, which is build up these new guys or build up these undesirable guys from these other companies and turn them into people that you care about. And I think they've done a fantastic job of that. This was an awesome pay-per-view. This is the pay-per-view of the year as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen a lot of bullshit this year. Both nights of WrestleMania seriously disappointed me this year. So this shit
Yeah.
I really, really did. In this match, this pay-per-view, I didn't have high hopes for. I wasn't even gonna watch it until Sid asked me to do this review show. And I think it was $50 well spent. I'm grateful that my money went to this. I'm so happy. And the Amazon, that is on Amazon Prime now. I hated Bleacher Report. Oh my God, that app gave me so much fucking angst and issues, and hated it. Loved Amazon Prime. I think AEW is in a very, very great spot. So love that match. Awesome pay-per-view.
Let me comment on one thing here, Professor Kris. You brought up a good point. The $50 worth, right? There was a comment earlier somewhere in the chat said, don't worry about looking for it. Someone said that AEW, the pay-per-view was too long.
Yeah,
it's been 6 years. Give it a rest. This is what we're getting. It's been 6 years. This is what we're getting.
Yeah,
it's 5 hours, 6 hours. This is what it is. Stop complaining about how long the pay-per-views are. This is the AEW pay-per-view formula. Get with the times. Move on. Build a bridge.
Find something else to complain about.
Yeah,
and critique
about
it.
And I understand TK's mindset with this too, because
it's bang for your buck, Kris. It's bang for your buck.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like if you're spending money on this shit, he's trying to make sure that you get a maximum show. Yeah. And it differentiates from because they're doing the next show on a Saturday. You don't want that looking like Collision in any way. You want it to look like a pay-per-view.
That's really what it is. It's a differentiation between TV and pay-per-view. If you're paying $50, first of all, you're going to give me more than 5 matches. Second of all, every match has got to be solid, good to great, and that's what they give you. And then on top of everything else, they either tie everything up in a bow, or they continue their storylines in a way that gets you interested to watch their TV as it continues on. At least that's been my perspective as of late. So I wanted to say that part of it all. And yeah, man, I'm very excited for what AEW's got to come has coming towards the future in the summer. June is not to be slept on, folks. We have this Fighter Fest thing coming. We got the Mexico shows coming. Like, this is gonna be a crazy month for AEW on TV. So don't sleep, folks. Don't sleep.
Yeah. We got a few super chats to read out here. We got Chuck Berries with a huge super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the love and the support there. He says, I love the callback to Drowning Pool and the song Bodies, talking about Anarchy in the Arena. He says, fucking classic. I'm begging you guys at THH to get that skit from Tony Schiavone on the Founding Fathers address as a super chat bumper on AE Ramble. I will talk to Romeo for that. Thank you so much. This had 2 certified match of the year candidates for me between Anarchy in the Arena and the main event. Those 2 I'm gonna remember at the end of the year. And then you got Rob Herring Jr. with a super chat donation talking about Ricochet. Thank you so much. He says, I love Ricochet's jacket. Yes, I think someone mentioned it was like a play off of a character of some kind. Ricochet always kills it with his jackets and his entrance. I always love it.
Yeah, he definitely did one based off of One Piece. I know that one. Like the white one. It's more like the Marine.
His love for anime knows no bounds.
Yep. He has like a jacket that looks like the Marines, and if people don't know about One Piece, the Marines are technically the heels in One Piece.
And then we got Genesis J with a super chat donation. Thank you once again, Genesis J, always supporting us here. He says, Hangman is the protagonist wrestling. Yo, Hangman is just such a relatable character. Yeah. It's about depression and insecurity and finding yourself and basically finding the belief in yourself or finding the belief through other people believing in you and regaining trust. It's all real life storytelling that he adds to his character. He that's why I said when we were talking about the promo on like AE Ramble or on True Hill Heat this week, and people were like, oh, it's too long. It was too long of a promo. I was like, no, it needed every minute of that. It was every minute invested because you felt the emotion, especially what Hangman had to say. That's why there was a lot of people that felt like Hangman had the better promo of the two. And there is like this emotional investment that's in the Hangman character and the emotional connection that he has to the AEW fans because he is the first homegrown star. Like Josh said earlier, you discovered him. A lot of people discovered him from his time in Ring of Honor or his appearances in the G1 for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But what AEW did with Hangman is they took what he was in Ring of Honor and then they tore it all away and stripped it away, and he became a character that felt some insecurity because he was in the group of the elite and he felt like the odd man out and he felt like he didn't belong because he lost to Chris Jericho in that first AEW World Championship matchup. And then he became the anxious millennial cowboy and had the drinking problem and teamed up with Kenny Omega and the whole journey of their tag team and the matchup with the Young Bucks and then losing the tag team titles and then finding himself as a leader for the misfits of AEW in the Dark Order and then rebuilding himself to become the AEW World Champion and then having that all turned down because of his emotions and how emotional he got with CM Punk and losing that World Championship and then all the drama that's been around his rivalry with Swerve Strickland. We've seen the ups, the downs, the roller coaster of Hangman Adam Page over the past 6 years. That's why, I was wrong. I predicted Will Ospreay to win this. It felt like the right decision as soon as that referee's count went 3 that Hangman was the guy to win this matchup last night.
Yeah, right. It's funny. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, Chris.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, it's like what I want to add to that too is because you brought up a good point, right? When it comes to all that stuff with Punk, whereas that he basically he lost to Punk, and then he hasn't been back to that spot ever since. And then last night, he gets back. He ends up winning. So there's a form of redemption there. But also what I like about the whole thing too, even outside of the wrestling stuff, is that Hangman has never responded to that. So I think that's actually has done him favors. When it comes to that regard, it's done him favors that, when you see Hangman, people love him. People don't have to use that as a crutch of he brings up Punk. Oh, he brings all this up. No, he's just a guy who goes into work and he's doing his fucking job. And I think that's a lot of people do appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and for all the good that CM Punk brought to AEW, because he did bring a lot of the eyes on the product and stuff like that, at the end of the day, he ended up being fool's gold, man. It wasn't meant to be. And Hangman is the right person to hold the title in AEW and carry the belt. And to piggyback off of what you said, Sid, about what they did with Hangman, AEW has a way of taking guys from other companies and just who are stars and are established in other companies, but stripping them down to their bare bones basics and turning them into AEW stars. They did it with Storm. They've done it with Ricochet. They've done it with Swerve. They've done it with Hangman. This is something that they're very, very good at when they want to do it. Okay. But yeah, so this was like I don't see how you can like realistically complain about Hangman given the story that they were telling. And then even in the press conference, I've been on this show, Sid, and you guys know I absolutely fucking hate it when the journalists, friends of mine, some of them, ask these kayfabe fucking questions in the press conference. But they asked one of the people asked Hangman a stupid fake question, but he gave it a real good answer, that a human answer. So I mean, he's great with all that shit.
Yeah. Great stuff overall. So we are going to wrap things up now and give our grades for AEW Double or Nothing 2025. Want to thank you all for joining us live. If you're watching us on demand, remember, if you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video. That helps us out so much. And final call for super chat donations. We're one super chat away from reaching our goal. And yes, if we hit that goal, I will be doing an NXT Battleground review, because that was last night as well. So I'll drop that on the channel if we get one more super chat donation. So just wanted to put that out there. But of course, if you want to, you can give us your grades, your score for AEW Double or Nothing 2025. Did you give the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle? Out of 10, what did you give the show? Who was your MVP, LVP, and match of the night? For all of us here on screen, I think this is an easy one. AEW Double or Nothing 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from everyone. J News, out of 10, what did you give the show?
9.5. I'm only taking a half point away for the extra matches that were in this thing. All the tag matches just felt unnecessary in the pay-per-view, right? Which still would have given us 5 hours worth of wrestling at the end of the day. So imagine that. But yeah, man, 9.5 for me. Best pay-per-view of the year for me so far, bar none, no matter the company. And yeah, man, this has AEW going in the right direction, and we'll see as to where it goes from here.
Professor Kris, what about you?
Yeah, I'm like 9.75. I might even go 9.8. This was an awesome pay-per-view. I think when you have a pay-per-view and like the worst thing you could say about it is the Hurt Syndicate match, and even that was a good match for what it was and its placement, I got no real complaints about this show. I'm still trying to think of who the LVP is going to be, but this was just an awesome pay-per-view. So yeah, very, very close to 10 stars for me.
Josh, what about yourself?
I'm gonna give it 9.5. 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to have to match all of y'all. I'm going 9.5 out of 10. The half a point is taken away for like some match that probably shouldn't have been on the show, the 6-man tag, but it was needed for the come down. So that's why I'm not going to take too much off of the show. And Hurt Syndicate and Sons of Texas, I wasn't really interested in, but that was actually better than I thought it would be. So yeah, the lowest I can go is 9.5 out of 10. The show of the year so far. My MVP for the show, I gotta go with Hangman Adam Page, and I'm gonna give MVP to everyone in Anarchy in the Arena as well. It's co-MVP. Hangman Adam Page and everyone in Anarchy in the Arena. Kris?
Yeah, I'm giving it to everybody in the Anarchy in the Arena match. I want to give it to the company, really, but for the sake of this show, just give it to everybody in the Anarchy in the Arena match. That was so entertaining and so much fun. And just like I said, it's serious, but it's serious, it's silly, but it's also compelling and serious. It's a bunch of different shit, those matches. So I loved it.
Josh?
MVP. I'll give it to Hangman.
Fair. J News.
MVP for me in this whole entire event. I'm gonna give it to everybody in the Anarchy in the Arena match, just because I didn't expect much out of it, and it was just batshit crazy and great. So yeah, everybody involved in the Anarchy in the Arena match gets MVP for me.
LVP for the show, I'm gonna give it to the Sons of Texas. J News.
Oh man, you know, I'm shit. That's tough because you know how much I hate Sammy Guevara, but but the LVP, as a matter of fact, because I was so down on where the match was positioned, even though they needed the come down match. I'm gonna give the LVP to the semi-main because you can't back up that Anarchy in the Arena match. You just can't.
You can't.
So there's my LVP of the freaking night.
Kris.
Yeah, it's really hard for me. This is a nitpick choice. I'm gonna give it to Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Only because
yeah.
Because of like he called them the Hurt Business more than once, and Renee had to finally step in, and it's like, come on, man,
make the save.
But I mean that's an honest mistake. I mean, Hurt Business, Syndicate. I think Syndicate sounds better, but I mean, it's a small thing. So yeah, Jeff Jarrett for me.
Josh.
I think just because I could give it to the Sons of Texas because they lost, but then a bunch of other people did lose too, so it was kind of like it's one of those things.
But they lost in the worst match on the show. That's why.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean that is fair. You know what? I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna give it to XT Battleground. Why? Because Double or Nothing outperformed them. And then if you look on Twitter, guess what? They outperformed them in the trends. So I'm gonna go with that. There you go.
Damn. NXT out here getting strays. Goddamn.
No, right.
And match of the night, I'm gonna give it to Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. That is my front runner for match of the year now. Josh. Nope. Okay, there you go.
No. Match of the night, easily the main event on Hangman versus Osprey.
Kris.
I'm giving it to Anarchy in the Arena just because of the way the people I was with reacted to it. And it was just such a fun match. So Anarchy in the Arena for me.
J News.
Yeah, man, it's the main event, bro. It's the main event. I put it on a pedestal before the event even got started, and it delivered, over delivered, and sealed it up, man. Will Ospreay can do no wrong. The hanger is the main character at the end of the day, so we got to ride that wave with him, man.
Hey, we always support difference of opinion. There you go, Slowmite, who says NXT Battleground was better.
I mean, if you feel like your professional wrestling needs to be, I don't know, spoon-fed to you without nuance, and then give you a character-based match that falls on its ass. I'm sorry, Tony D. I love you, brother, but goddamn, that was not what I was looking for.
Damn. Yo.
And now you got my main man Trick Willie on the TNA website with the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Go jump off a fucking bridge with that shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, J News gonna get himself a disclaimer next. We do have one last super chat donation here from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for hitting our goal, and that's the reason why I highlighted that last comment, because now I have to review NXT Battlegrounds. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably be jumping on the channel either tomorrow before Tuesday's NXT or on Wednesday, either or. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know tomorrow on Rated Raw Review. And one final question for all of us before we sign off here. We got Puff Dutch, who asks, who does Will face in Texas? I am going to go with the returning Switchblade Jay White. Switchblade Jay White, because they didn't get their match at Dynasty, and now he has a vendetta against Will Ospreay. Give them the big stage at All In Texas. Jay News?
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah,
I'm going. Yeah.
Going with that?
Yeah.
Kris, what about you?
I'd go Switchblade, or I'd say maybe Hook, someone that Osprey's gonna beat. Pretty much, that's what I think.
I don't know about the Hook thing, Kris, just because you need to. And I'm saying this in all fairness, you need to be a certain caliber wrestler to be in there with Will.
I agree.
I'd take Samoa Joe though.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
I'd take Samoa Joe versus Will.
Mm-hmm.
I would take either or of those. And Soulmite, I'm just gonna let you know this is just some advice. If you have to say my show was watched by more people to defend your opinion, you lost.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, the realistic part of it is one's cheaper than the other. So if you live in America, you're gonna go for the economy.
Yeah.
But you see this, right? This person didn't speak until I said something. So we definitely have people lurking. You see that though, right? Like as soon as I mention that, you see.
But you know.
But you see what I did?
Not a lot of channels would highlight the comment, but this is what we do.
I'm saying, but you see what I did though, right? But you see that, right? Like as soon as I said something, guess what? I got a groundhog, and that's the groundhog for the day.
You basically baited them. You put the bait out there, and they bid on it. So congratulations.
At the end of the day, everybody's an equal opportunity offender in the chat, and they know what they're up to, and they know what they get here at True Heel Heat. All love for everyone out there. Everyone is owed their own opinion, regardless of the fact, as SP3 likes to say, whether it's a bad opinion or not.
Exactly. There are flawed opinions. But thank you guys for watching us live. Thank you if you're watching us on demand. We appreciate y'all either way. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new. I want to thank Kris for joining us today. Professor Kris, appreciate you so much for joining us for these AEW pay-per-view reviews. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they will see you again.
All right. Well, also first I want to say that there more people eat at McDonald's than they do at one of Wolfgang Puck's restaurants. But come on, man. But anyway, go to my Substack, professorely.substack.com. I've got 2 articles up right now. 2 wrestling articles. Most of my articles are political articles, but these wrestlers wanted to step in the political arena, so I got to talk about them. And I'm talking about Roman Reigns, and then I have a separate one about Tyrus. So read those. And then also you can follow me on Blue Sky. I still hit my Twitter every once in a while, but mainly only when I do like this show. I don't fuck with Twitter, but yeah. And then just Google me, you'll find me. Christopher Ely, Kris with a K and 2 F's, and yeah.
Always appreciate you, brother, and always appreciate J News, who's usually here for New Japan Pro Wrestling, but love talking to you about AEW as well. J News, let everybody know.
Oh man, catch me every Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Ropes podcast. Me and the lovely Dolores do that on our respective YouTube channels. You can catch me here on True Heel Heat talking all that New Japan goodness and stuff like that. And obviously I come on here every once in a while and talk AEW as well and just give everybody a laugh while I'm on here. Don't take me seriously, folks. This is ain't the end of the world. So, it is what it is in that regard there. So appreciate everybody in the chat for chiming in and joining the discussion, because this is what this is all about. And man, till next time, folks.
And of course, the True Jaw Josh. Let everybody know, brother.
You can follow me, JamPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be back on Saturday for THH.
Indeed. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. You can also go to there where we got our Under Siege preview, and where I'm going to drop the review later this week. So that will definitely be out before this week's Impact. So we could talk about that as well. I was going to do the Battleground review over there, but y'all are making me do more work here on the channel. So you got our NXT Battleground review here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for that. That will probably be dropping later this week as well. So, and of course, in the meantime, between time, you can check out all the great content we got on the channel, like THH 330 from this past Saturday with myself, the True Jaw Josh, Miss Chrissy Love, who was on trial, and Sat E. Niangi talking about this week in wrestling. So go over and check that out. Check out me and the True Jaw Josh with our Saturday night's main event review from yesterday as well. And yes, we will be covering everything from AEW, AE Ramble this Thursday, talking about AEW Dynamite with me and Jimmy Macaram, and we'll see if Jimmy Macaram watched anything from Double or Nothing, the show he said was going to be awful. And yes, I did call him out for that. But you can go over and check that out. I'll be back tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with Rated Raw Review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw. But for Professor Kris, for J News, for the True Jaw Josh, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our AEW Double or Nothing 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.